What is going on, everybody? It is episode 410 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Today's show is going to be one for the girlies. You might have seen from the intro screen that there are some new guests you haven't seen before from this company. And I'll allow them to today. Yeah, it's all women. Well, really, we like 3 women equal the testosterone in 1 man, so this is actually 2 men.
Yeah. It's weird because this doesn't look anything like a kitchen, and I thought for a second that maybe with this many women here. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's a joke. Your chauvinism.
It's a joke.
Anyways,
yes.
Please introduce yourself, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I work for Casper Coffee. Check us out at casper.com.
How's that going for you?
It's been great so far. It's my 2nd week, and I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So. And to my left.
My name is Kara. I am the customer service. I'll answer emails. Yep, I'm here today. Yep. So we'll see how it goes.
How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. Rested.
Good, because we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. I thought we've got 2 new guests here today.
It's also Barbie Day.
It is, yeah. Judging by Mary's shirt, it's clearly Barbie Day. Is it not?
I'm not wearing black today.
Which is weird, right? Because
and you're giving Ken.
Oh, I'm wearing a hat tonight. I'm not wearing any. There's no blonde hair tonight.
That's the best part of the hair.
No, that's we got a bunch of stuff to talk about here today, ladies and gentlemen. For once, Barbie doesn't seem to be among them, other than some updates that are coming through in regards to the box office projections for both Barbie and Oppenheimer. We will be talking about that in the intro of the show. But Sound of Freedom has grossed past $100 million at the box office, which is unbelievable. Not more than a week ago, I was like, I don't know if it's going to make $100 million. That's a big amount of money. I thought maybe the interest would die off. It's not dying off, so we're going to get into that. Also, plenty of journalists and people on Twitter have exposed someone who works for Bloomberg who wrote a hit piece about the film Sound of Freedom.
I don't know if we're even allowed to say this guy's name on YouTube.
Because I have no idea.
It seems like a lot of people who are talking about this story are getting censored.
Yep. So we're gonna have to be very careful with how we talk about it. But he wrote a hit piece about the movie Sound of Freedom, and if you wonder what somebody who writes a hit piece about a movie that's about child trafficking looks like, this is about exactly what you'd expect. Who writes things that are about exactly what you'd expect? So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about. Okay, look, I don't know how to phrase this. So there's a writer's strike going on right now, ladies and gentlemen. There's a writer's strike, there's an actor's strike, and both of them are working together, vying for public support. They want your backing as they try to get new contracts signed. We've got some videos talking about incels. It is Hollywood talking about incels that will absolutely make you root for the studios and hope that these writers don't get a penny more.
The incel.
Oh yeah, it will. So we're going to talk about that. It is hilarious. Elijah Schaefer posted about it on Twitter recently. Also, apparently Tom Cruise is problematic because not only is he a Scientologist, the age gap between him and the women that he stars in his Mission Impossible movies with are apparently just a little bit too far apart, which is funny because when I think of those movies, I don't think about anything in the way of romance. It all feels very sexless to me in a lot of ways. So it's funny that it's problematic at all. But Haley Atwell is apparently too young for him at 41 years old. So we're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about Pinky Doll, NPC streamers. We've been dabbling in it for the last week. It is a hellscape of the internet that knows no bounds so far. I've been getting articles. I've been getting videos sent to me constantly showing these people. But we're going to talk about Pinky Doll. We're going to talk about some of the other things that are going on and why a trend like watching women act like NPCs on stream has become so popular in the culture. So if you ladies are ready, we will get started. Kara, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Mary, you ready?
I'm ready.
Sarah, you ready?
I am so ready.
Let's do this then, ladies and gentlemen. All right. First things first, Netflix adds nearly 6 million subscribers to after their password sharing crackdown, which is really, really funny because people were saying that this is not going to make them a lot of money. I actually think they're kind of right. If you take like 6 million paid subscribers and you take like the most popular of their account types, which is the $15.49 basic package, right? Like back of the envelope estimate is like $96 million. Obviously it's taxes, everything would be a lot different than that. But $96 million isn't really all that much because they waste that type of money all the time. They just canceled the Masters of the Universe movie They spent $30 million just on production to start, and then it never got made. So what is $96 million really when the audience is now angry at you?
Is that per month?
No, yeah. So it'd be like $96 million a month, but they waste that money constantly.
On like one movie?
Yeah. So it doesn't make any sense to me. It says Netflix smashed Wall Street expectations by rising 238.9 million global subscribers in quarter 2 compared to the 232.5 in quarter 1. All of these streaming services, though, like even gaining that few or that many, it's still a stagnant market where people are they've decided what they're going to watch. Like I asked
you earlier in this strike situation, why don't the CEOs like Ted Sarandos just decide to start buying the licensing to a bunch of different shows and just fill their content library for the time being where they can't produce anything because of the actors strike? And it's actually, I guess it's more complicated than that because, for instance, if you want to buy a license to a Paramount movie, it's going to already be on Paramount Plus. They're not going to want to give it to you unless it's for an outrageous price.
Yeah, they'll wait in their first of all, they're going to get first crack at it. If Paramount releases a movie, they're not going to give it to Netflix first.
This is why I'm just
streaming.
saying we need a giant mega corporation to come and buy Netflix, buy Hulu, buy Amazon Prime. Just all of the streaming services in one.
Yeah, like a
so
mega.
all of our content is in one place because otherwise I'm just going to use alternative free streaming platforms like Freevee and Tubi. I mean,
do you use Tubi?
No.
Do you use Tubi? Do you guys watch anything?
That was a
on,
joke.
I've never paid for a streaming service, and I probably never will.
Hannah Claire would love you.
It's literally pointless.
But I've seen them all.
Hannah
Claire's theory is that women don't buy streaming services because they just have the logins of their male counterparts.
Also,
For me, that's my dad.
Yeah.
I've got to. Apparently now we can hit the like button on Superchats. So that was very weird. It feels like I'm on my phone
to get people to like the video. Apparently, there's this brand new feature where you can like a video.
No, there's
try it.
There is a like button on the Super Chat function.
So
now,
can I dislike them?
It doesn't look like you can dislike.
Boo.
it.
You can only like it. Oh.
You'd probably have to use a Chrome extension
Very
for that.
1984.
We got. By the way, guys,
literally.
hit the like button on this video so that I can then hit the like button on all the Super Chats. Share this video with your friends. Please do that.
That's
Remember,
only fair.
Yeah, exactly. And all
for
Super
like.
Chats, $20 and over. We will stop the discussion. We will read that Super Chat right then and there, and then we will get right back on topic. So, all right. By the way, it's really funny too because like not that long ago, somebody was like using my Netflix here, and so like stuff would just show up on my Netflix that I wanted.
I like how you keep looking at me.
Then
Someone was using mine.
No, it was on the TV downstairs. I don't know who.
Do you
I
go
don't
by
know who-
Patrick down there?
No.
What were they watching?
It was they were watching. They watched Dahmer because I had not yet seen Dahmer.
Might have been Carter.
It could have been Carter. You never know. I don't know. But it was just really funny
It's a
too. 'cause-
vulnerable thing for someone to look at your watch list.
Yeah.
No, it is.
is.
It's like letting your music play.
It's like your
unencumbered.
search
like on
history.
Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like it's like you put on your music and you just hit shuffle without making a playlist for a specific trip because there's going to be music that you might not want somebody to hear that you listen to.
It's not as romantic to make a playlist for somebody as it is to burn a CD for them.
You're not even. You're too
takes
young
time.
to even remember.
Do you know
that.
I saw it in movies, Brett.
You're not even old enough to understand.
Wait till she hears
that.
about cassette tapes.
I think I made my dad burn CDs for me when I was a kid.
Okay, so wait, so he burned the CDs for you. Then did you share those with your friends?
No.
Okay, like
course
it's like
not.
we had to burn the
played,
CDs ourselves, right?
I played
Yeah.
disc computer games
Okay,
when I was
what'd
really
you-
young.
Like
What'd you
floppy
play?
disk?
Floppy
I-
disk, that's like before any of
There
ours.
was like one with this purple car named Putt Putt. I don't know if any Zoomers in the chat are gonna know about this. This is a deep cut. It's very niche.
It's just not easy. I have very specific music playlists depending on like where I'm going and depending on time of day. Like even driving at night is a different different music
Yeah.
than driving during the day for me.
I have a playlist I've been building for the last like 3 years that I would never let anybody else hear.
There you go.
But I listen to it every day.
Yeah, and that's good, right? Like,
Yeah.
or like if you're like me and like if you're deaf in one ear and the music's just really loud, then people probably can hear it anyways. And you think you're keeping it hidden from everyone, but you're actually not. They actually are listening to everything you are, and they're judging you, and they're judging you harshly, right? Yeah, you know, it is what it is. Okay, guys, the most entertaining saga going on in entertainment right now has nothing to do with the writer's strike, as far as I'm concerned. Vanna White has partially signed a new deal for her Wheel of Fortune contract, and I say give her all the money.
Give her all the money.
Give her all the
That's
money.
what I'm saying. She's
Right.
a legend. Why wouldn't you? Why?
Did you grow up watching?
I sure did with my grandma.
That's
sure
awesome.
did. Yeah, I loved it. Yep. She was iconic for sure.
Apparently, what they said is like their excuse is like they paid him too much. And now they don't want, because what she said is she goes, I want to make half of what Pat Sajak makes.
He was
at
making
least.
5 times her amount.
Oh, wow.
Gosh.
Throughout the show
Yeah.
because of misogyny.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Women
But
are getting held down.
well, she also like she needs to negotiate a better contract, right? Hire a better lawyer, hire a better manager and agent.
Why did she wait until Pat Sajak is getting replaced?
No idea.
Well, because
that.
once he leaves, a lot of people are going to stop watching, and she is a reason for people who have been with the show for a long time to continue watching Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
True.
She's kind
You
of
need
like
to
a
keep
tub
one
People
of
one.
them.
like Ryan
Yeah.
Seacrest.
He's kind of been typecasted as like a game show or host type person, right?
Seacrest?
Yeah, like because he's also he's like a big time. From what I understand, he's a very very powerful producer in Hollywood. Like he's not just a front facing camera
I
person.
think he produced the Kardashians, like their later seasons.
Okay.
I might be wrong.
I'm looking at this headline right now that says Kim Kardashian expresses regret about Pete Davidson relationship.
Well, shocking, right?
Come on the show.
Shocking. Could we get her on? Could we get her on to come on? Can you
I'll reach
imagine?
out. I'll
can
make
you,
sure to reach
Can you
out.
imagine her slumming it on the like coming up the stairs and just like oh my like this disgusting carpet has touched my
She gets
feet.
her security guards to carry
To
her
carry
up.
her up the stairs of your like imagine
Oh
no
my
the funny
gosh.
thing is we have her on but we open that over there and we let the stink bugs out just
There
to
you go.
see how
That's
Kim
terrifying.
Kardashian reacts to being just constantly bombarded by
locusts.
stink bugs. And we could and let have
It would be a
Bocas come up
fascinating
here.
case study.
I want to see
It
an
would.
episode of the Kardashians where they go to a shooting range.
Has that been done? I've never
don't
seen
think
an
that's
episode
ever
of
happened.
I don't think
Kardashians.
so.
They
Maybe-
should do that.
Actually, maybe now that I think about it, I think I saw that before.
I feel like that's a real thing.
I could see like Chloe doing something like that.
Yeah. So
Let me
it
see.
feels real to me, right? Like
Yeah.
I have to admit I've never seen an
Oh.
episode of the Kardashians.
That's a good thing.
A headline from Daily Mail: Kendall Jenner terrified at gun range with Khloe Kardashian. This is in 2017. She considered buying a weapon but didn't.
She was like, does
Well, she has people to do that for
yeah.
her.
Well, that was
so.
that was the
Exactly.
big thing that people were complaining about recently because Taylor Swift is very she's outspoken about gun stuff, but has security that follows her around that are all very much carrying weapons.
Yeah.
Khloe
So does every
Kardashian
politician
scared
and-
Kendall
yeah.
Jenner out of buying a gun.
It's very very sad. What's going to happen? They don't live in the safest of places.
How will they survive?
The Calabasas
I'm
being
concerned about this.
Calabasas being as dangerous as Calabasas is in California, like one of the richest neighborhoods in the world. But I guess like once you leave the neighborhood, you're then by
Yeah.
tent city and you're stuck with a bunch of people that could possibly, harm you.
Yeah.
It'd be really funny to see one of them like just draw on someone. Like I'm just I'm
gonna happen.
I'm picturing Kendall Jenner
They have the
like
equivalent of
appendix
Secret
carrying
Service.
like and she pulls the shirt up and she pulls out she's
They have
carrying
not
like
so Secret Service
Just like
that will
a-
do that for
yeah.
you.
she's carrying like a car 9mm. Like I like it. I like that idea. We got a $20 one there from Gordon Shumway.
Thank you.
He said, you guys don't even know, back in the day we had to record cassette tapes off of the radio, so you had to listen religiously, sometimes call in and request a song and press record at the right time. That took dedication.
That I had to do
Wow.
that
Yeah.
all the time. I remember one time I asked for a song and the DJ just said no. He just said no and hung up.
Ouch.
Like
He just
yeah.
wasn't having it that day.
Yeah, you just I don't even it was a song they weren't playing on the radio. It was like a rap song, but still you could have been more polite about it.
How else
dude.
can you get it?
At the time
Yeah.
make money somehow as a
the
child
album?
labor and then make the money somehow. We did that. I mowed the lawn. I mowed the lawn and then go buy the album from someone.
Yep.
That's what you had to do. All right, guys, if you're wondering what Barbie and Oppenheimer are going to make this weekend, collectively they're called Barbenheimer, $260 million between the two. worldwide, which is honestly
Barbie is going to make up the lion's share of that.
That doesn't seem like a whole lot to me, given how much hype has been around these movies. It's looking like domestically, Barbie is going to make between 90 and 125 million dollars on the high end. Warner Brothers is conservatively estimating 75 million, and overseas 60 to 65 million, coming to a total of like 165, 170 million. Oppenheimer 45 to 50 million domestically, and 45 million dollars overseas. I'm guessing none of that coming from Japan. So I actually have no
Is it
idea.
banned
I don't
in
know.
Japan? I
if they're
don't think
gonna,
that it is.
It would take a great amount of like forgiveness
Humility.
to go to.
I think we're homies now.
I think we are. Yeah, I was in Japan recently, and there was like no animosity towards Americans or anything about World War II. Like they have forgiven and moved on.
How recently
somehow.
was that?
When I was there,
Yeah.
like a month ago.
And you
I think
saw
it's
kids
because they
just-
recently only now have like lifted a lot of COVID restrictions on travel.
Yeah, they just did.
So a lot of people are vacationing there.
I think Barbie's going to end up making a ton of money on the opening week, and then that will fall steadily if the feminist messaging doesn't resonate with the public, which I can't imagine that it was. And we all know that, ladies, you're going to have to come out for this movie. This can't be the WNBA. You're gonna have to actually show up if you want this movie to
We
do
gotta
well.
pull our own weight?
Like
Oh,
I'm not like I'm going to this movie tonight literally in protest now. There was mild curiosity before and kind of a sense of duty because it's my job to review it. Now I'm literally dreading it, and I'm like,
I was
Brent,
excited
isn't that why you
about
dyed
it.
your hair?
I'm like,
I thought it was because of Barbie.
yeah, well, yeah, I got so excited, and I have just a picture
Yeah.
of Ryan Gosling in my room. Yes, no.
You have a shrine.
Yeah, no,
Ryan
no, like
Gosling.
now I'm just dreading it, and I'm just like, I think I'm coming down with something.
I'm excited. I was
excited.
excited beforehand when I thought it was going to be good, and now I'm excited to hate it.
You know, that's not
As
fun.
long as I feel strongly about it, I'm good.
I don't like.
I
Look,
love-
okay,
yeah.
I watched Justified Primeval last night, and I had like a mental breakdown watching the show that really does cannibalize and destroy everything I love about the original series. Now, granted, that's about something that existed previously, so you have something that you're comparing it to, but they absolutely ruined this series by making this show that has none of the joy, none of the unique characters.
What did he
and-
say? Like he's been in a racist community.
Yeah, that wasn't even the lead character, but yeah, like it becomes about racial politics. White boys used extensively in the show, and it's just boring. It's not funny. It's not fun. It has
Yeah.
none of the charm that the original series has. I wrote a fairly in-depth piece for it. I posted it on Twitter and on Instagram, but it's got none of the love that came behind the original show because it has none of the unique side characters. All the side characters are joyless, unhappy, and easy to hate. But that doesn't make your show deep or impressionable. It just makes it annoying. So it's not fun.
Anyway,
it's not
back to
good.
Barbie.
Well,
Ted
that's what I'm
Cruz
saying. Like,
just
it's-
said that the
I
Barbie
don't-
film is brainwashing young people with Chinese propaganda.
Well, it is. It is doing that.
He said there's a scene in the Barbie movie where there's a map of the world, and they've drawn what are called the 9 dashes. This is Chinese communist propaganda.
I don't think he's seen the movie. I think that, though it is funny to me.
He
to
wasn't
see
invited to the premiere like Matt Gates was.
who just was
He's
seen
just not
pictured
elite enough.
at a Joe Biden picnic. Did you see that? Matt Gates is just out there hanging with the elites these days.
I mean, it's because he's not very right wing.
He's I know nothing about him.
Yeah,
other than the fact
I
he's
don't
been
know
on
who that
here.
is, but good for him.
Yeah, and his wife is a singer. Ginger Gates is a singer who posts.
She's a
this stuff.
singer, but I don't know if she's like that's her job.
In the chat, somebody says
Everyone's
cloaks
a singer on
justice.
TikTok.
In the chat, somebody says we need a Barbie Eileen Wuornos character arc. Okay, see, they could have done that. They could make something like that. Similar, you know what they do? Just like how we have Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which is a Winnie the Pooh horror movie. We can make a Barbie horror movie.
Mattel isn't going to let that happen.
Husband killer Barbie.
Is Barbie ever going to go into public domain?
I don't know how. It would be a long time if it was only created in the 60s, right? The late 50s.
Yeah.
It would have quite a while before that ends up happening. So Mattel will hold on to those rights for quite a long time. Also,
Question in the chat: should Timcast hire Dylan Mulvaney? And we're asking because Dylan Mulvaney has just posted a job ad after his fallout with Bud Light. And he called out Bud Light for not standing by him during the whole controversy. And he's out of work. So maybe Timcast could lend a hand, do some charity work.
what do you think? Should we hire him?
Brand ambassador for Timcast?
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Sponsorship with Cast Brew Coffee.
send him to interface
Just
with
surprise everybody.
Send him to interface with a bunch of people at Walmart and Target especially, Bud Light, and he can be a brand ambassador.
Should we invite Dylan Mulvaney on IRL?
Yep.
I think that would be a good idea.
Why not?
I would be happy to
Culture
have,
war, maybe?
that would actually be really, really good,
No,
right?
but we know that
That'd be
Dylan
interesting.
Mulvaney would never do that because obviously this person is like immune to criticism.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think that this would be a wake-up call because even Dylan said, like, Bud Light didn't have my back in the way that I would have hoped they would have. So you would think that that would be like, oh, maybe I can go and, like, explore and do a show like The Culture War. But I feel like even then it's not enough for people to kind of, like, break from whatever, like, the okay thing is to like or to represent or to say.
Yeah. It's and for Dylan, like people are saying like maybe Dylan can be pulled back from the brink. I think that once you're steeped into an ideology that heavily, it's very, very hard to get out from underneath it. And I feel bad too because it's like covering it's news, it's culture. It's really weird because I've had people who don't seem to follow a lot of stuff that's going on in this realm ask about Dylan Mulvaney, and I'm just like, look, you're gonna have to go through, you're gonna have to do all your own research and look up and figure out what you think about it. Like watch the videos, watch the things that he's said, you know, all of his media appearances and like the videos he posts on Twitter are all incredibly well done. He's very media trained.
But it's acting.
Yeah, it's very
I was gonna say
it's
method
very much
acting.
acting in
Yeah.
a lot of ways. So
In that video calling out Bud Light, I don't believe for a second that those tears were real.
yeah. No, I don't either. But he said media
And
trained.
This person is signed on the same talent agency that I think dropped Kanye.
Yeah.
CAA.
CAA is one
And
of the biggest in
this
the
is
world.
specifically for speaking opportunities, so I think IRL would be a great option. Or Oxford Union, since they seem to be taking anyone now.
Who did that last? Was that Mia Khalifa that did
Mia
the last
Khalifa
one?
did it, Danielle Bergoli.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
Anyone who has an OnlyFans,
They
want to
love that.
invite you to Oxford to talk about it.
Well, we're going to be
There's an
talking about that
abundance
later
of
because we're going to be
people.
talking about all of the NPC streamers who seem to be doing that. Okay, guys, we've got both cringe of the day and we've got cute of the day. What would you like to see first?
What do you guys think? I'll leave it up to you guys.
I would
Let's do
say cringe. Yeah.
Cringe?
first.
All right, cringe.
Cringe. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
All right, here we go. You're going to love this one. So Andrew Tate was on a live stream. This is, I believe the live stream is older, but Aiden Ross reveals how he stopped touching himself, for lack of better words.
Because every time he did it, he would think about Andrew Tate.
Here's the clip. Here's the clip.
If you could have visitors or not.
I am allowed.
Andrew, you know
visitors,
you
yes.
actually helped me stop masturbating because every time that I would masturbate, I would think of you, and I'm like, nah, this is not right. I'm gonna stop.
What the fuck?
I said I'm gonna stop doing this shit now. No, for real, you put it in my brain. Nah, I haven't done it in months. Swear to God.
Oh my word.
That just sounds wrong.
The way
Also, someone
questionable.
quote tweeted it and said, "You know, a conversation is bad when Jake Paul is the most normal person."
Do you think he like got done saying it and was like, crap?
How do
for
I?
sure.
Yeah, how do I like
Like,
I don't
repair
think he
this
recovered from
situation?
that.
I almost feel like he said it that way on purpose.
Like to be
He
Just-
wasn't
yeah.
Aiden Ross the same one that like sniffed the chair that Andrew Tate was sitting on
Oh,
after
yeah.
he got up.
Yep.
Yep.
That's so weird.
And he's one of the most popular streamers right now.
Aiden Ross.
So just, yeah.
He just sold like a $5 million house. Like
Oh my.
He's doing well.
he's doing very like imagine
what I
like
mean.
swattings at a $5 million house where the cops have to like trudge up your long walkway and your expensive gate that probably is like electric,
They have
right?
to take a break halfway in between. They're like,
Spikes all over.
They're like, the dogs are tired. We got to let the dogs stop and drink some water before we make it up to the top of your mansion to find out whether there's actually some type of incident going on there. And it's funny too, not to knock on wood, but we haven't had anything like that happen here in a while, which is always really, really nice because that stuff was never really fun. There's a great security image from the first time it happened here of me and Andy with our hands up.
oh my God.
I've got that picture on
Memories.
my
Legendary,
phone.
yeah.
It's good times.
Fond memories of working.
But
with podcasts.
if you're a guy, the best thing you could probably do is not ever say that
Yeah.
ever
To another grown man.
To another grown man.
Yeah.
Like, just a fair.
he's never gonna
comparison,
beat
right?
the gay allegations.
Not after that. Not a good idea. But he's also known to be, like you said, he's been known to say things that's purely to get the attention that we're giving him right
Absolutely.
now. So
Yep.
it's in
Yep.
a lot of
He's
ways.
good at
it's
what he
worked.
does.
Yep. All right, I've got cute of the day, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a couple here. First from Halls and the Kid. Abby is a Boston Terrier and Tank is a boxer. So here's the first one there. That is adorable.
I like
That
the
is-
guys.
That is adorable. Then we got this one here.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that
So
adorable?
cute.
He's so cute. Oh my
They're
I
very,
love
very
them.
cute.
Cute
All
of
right.
the day just feels right when there are women in the room.
Yes,
It does.
you
I can
know.
do this all day.
Well, I just figured people love sharing pictures of their pets. It's just something that people love to do.
Hashtag PCC Pets on Twitter.
I remember watching
Get yours
somebody.
featured.
I watched a video where somebody was talking about how getting a cell phone was depressing to him because he used to love to whenever he would talk about his kids to people, he'd have like the wallet with like the thing of pictures and he'd share the
Yeah, my
pictures
dad
with
had
people.
that.
And now he's like,
People
it's just
don't do that anymore.
He's like, now it's just on his phone, and it feels kind of soulless to just share, by scrolling. Here's pictures of my
Yeah.
kids. But he would actually have like the wallet. He'd fold out. He's got like 9 kids, and it just keeps going.
Gen Alpha is gonna have so many pictures of themselves
Yeah.
when they were
And-
babies.
yeah.
It's crazy.
And eventually, he's not even gonna do that. Eventually, it's gonna be Neuralink, and you're just gonna you're gonna airdrop it to the person you want to share the picture of your
That's
kids
so
with.
cold.
And it seems very cold and impersonal, and in no
Yeah.
way like actually something that would make you feel like you're connecting with another person about something as important as having kids or sharing things about your family. So that's a depressing way to think of Cute of the Day, is it not?
Thanks for ruining it.
My fault.
You ruined the vibe.
My fault. And we got one more here. This is from Boosted Yogi on Twitter. Says, our girl Grummy gave birth to 5 perfect little kittens about 2 weeks ago.
Cute.
Are they for sale?
Are you looking to buy?
We're looking for Bucko 2.
You're looking to buy?
2.0.
Yeah.
What, don't say
Yeah.
like that feels he's still
That's
down
what Tim
there.
says,
Like,
man.
Well, if you want Bucko 2.0, you're gonna have to clone him.
A true 2.0. you
We're
would
not
have to
really
do
at that point with science yet.
and
that we know of.
in the chat, somebody says, "Too
Being
bad
cloned.
Brett can't airdrop." Yes, that's right, because I have a Galaxy and I don't have an iPhone.
Androids
I recently
take the cell.
switched.
Yeah. All right. All right, guys. Again, before we get started, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Thank you very much. All right, guys. So there's a bunch of big news in relation to Sound of Freedom. Right now, the film has broke $100 million at the box office, which is really, really good. Also, there is a bunch of news coming out about a journalist who is wrote a very, very bad article in which he's criticizing the film Sound of Freedom as QAnon nonsense. But what you realize when you look into him is that he likes very, very bad things, and he's a very, very, very bad person, is he not, Mary?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say that Trump showed Sound of Freedom at his golf club recently, and that's also setting people off. And he had people like Carrie Lake there, Jack Posobiec, and it's all the criticism toward this movie is not really about the content of the movie. It's that the wrong people like it, and they admit openly that the content of this movie doesn't actually have any QAnon messaging or like buzzwords in it.
And,
It's just things that Tim Ballard or Jim Caviezel have said in interviews that they don't like, which has nothing to do with it. And we ignore celebrity interviews about their work all the time.
To our detriment, because now we're about to go watch an awful Barbie
We
movie.
give them
that-
the benefit of the doubt, and we never get it back in return.
If we had taken the interviews of the Barbie castmates as gospel, we would have known what garbage we were about to get into
So
tonight.
this article from
I
The
didn't even know
Guardian
they did
said
interviews.
Trump hosts screening of Sound of Freedom, a hit with QAnon devotees. And then this article that this very sussy individual, what is his name, Noah Berlatsky,
Yes.
wrote,
Correct.
says QAnon and Sound of Freedom both rely on tired Hollywood tropes. Interesting.
Yep.
He also was the communications director for an organization called Prosasia, which calls itself a child protection advocacy organization, but is actually just a MAP organization for minor attracted persons. And that's their front, is that they're trying to protect children. They're the ones who really care. But they write articles
the guy in
like
the
this.
movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Child trafficking narratives are misleading. Noah Berlatsky said he wrote about how child trafficking narratives are misleading and how that puts underage people who trade sex at risk. He said that child sex workers, this is what he calls them, not slaves, are actually not doing this because they've been coerced. It's because it's their autonomous choice to do so. And he said, I think a lot of the important takeaways from the piece is that underage people who trade sex generally see trading sex as a solution to other problems: lack of housing, lack of food and parental support, lack of money. No one is arguing with that, but it's weird to make this your cause. You know what I mean?
It's stuff like that that makes me like Andrew Tate a lot more. Although a lot of what he says is problematic. You know that I do like what he says about like we need strong men, because to me this is something, it's like disgusting to even hear a grown man talk about this kind of stuff. And we need women too, but I think other men to keep this type of stuff in check. I think that's what we're lacking a lot in society today.
I mean, I don't think that Andrew Tate
he's
is the avatar of that cause, given that one of his charges is trafficking minors.
Oh wow, I did
Minors?
not know that.
That is one of the charges. It's because, as I said,
the
that girlfriend that he used to recruit other women into the webcam business is one that he met and had start webcamming when she was 15.
I do recommend.
He's admitted on video.
I also recommend everyone watch the Shoe on Head video about this guy after the stream today.
Yeah, Shoe on Head found this guy a year
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
She exposed this guy a year ago
Before he ever
this
wrote
ever
this
happened.
article. Yep.
He also wrote an article called "Child Sex Workers' Biggest Threat is the Police."
Yeah. It's the world we live in now.
One of his tweets from 2017 says, "Pedophiles are essentially a stigmatized group. Certain people are designated as deviants and people hate them."
You know what the problem is? Everyone has the internet, and if you're like mildly okay at speaking, you can intellectualize the most awful ideas in history in a way that other awful people will then latch on
He's
to.
not that
Yes,
clever, though.
yeah.
He's
But is
really
this just
not.
exposing it, or is this like creating more of that ideology?
I mean, what it is people latch on to this then. Like you said, he's active in forums and other places where they're talking about this, and it's very, very terrifying because back in the day, you know, they wouldn't be given a public platform to do so, but a lot of people would argue like let them, so that way they expose themselves and let them show the contemptible personalities that they have, so that you can be better forewarned and forearmed about what's actually going on in society. And it's scary to think that people like that are then able to work for major companies like Bloomberg and write articles to spite a movie that has nothing to do with QAnon at all. I'm still upset that they declared it or labeled it as a political thriller, which it's not. If child
First of its
trafficking
kind.
is a political aspect, it's ridiculous.
I was thinking about this. I was like, if I was not from this planet and I didn't know anything about politics, like he writes in here, it has been a surprise success in cinemas with both traditional conservatives and the far right. And this is an anti-child sex trafficking movie. I would come here and be like, those are the kind of people that I want to hang out with. These sound like the good people. They're trying to frame it as something that's negative. And I don't identify as any of these things. But the fact that he's trying to frame that as a bad thing is astonishing to me. It's a bit of a reach.
The movie is bad because people that I don't like enjoy the movie. Pretty much.
and
That's
made
his
it.
argument.
Which is insane because there's plenty of movies that people don't like that I have no problem with who that person is.
This guy in Shoe on Head's video, this guy was defending cuties and saying that disliking cuties is actually because people hate black female film directors.
Yeah. Also, remember,
Like,
parents are oppressive.
This has
he
been
says.
his cause for years, is downplaying these issues of people being predatory toward children and defending pedophiles.
And he still has a platform.
I mean, so does Simu Liu. He's in the Barbie movie, and he was caught with this Reddit account where he was talking about how we need to have more compassion and sympathy for pedophiles.
We talked about the Good Doctor
No
episode.
one actually cares about this stuff in the establishment.
We talked about the Good Doctor episode that covered this a while ago. Like, these things have become more mainstream to talk about in a way that's almost shocking.
Yeah. Another one of his tweets from 2020 says, "Parents are tyrants. Parent is an oppressive class, like rich people or white people."
Yep.
Yeah, parents are oppressing you when they don't want you to talk to their children
They
and give
shelter
them
and
candy
feed
for their
the
white
kids.
van.
You can't stay up late, therefore you're oppressing your own child, by the way. Like, every time your parents ever disciplined you ever, they were actually they were exerting patriarchal or matriarchal power over you. As a child, you should be allowed to make your own decisions because they have autonomy. They're
I
saying.
knew I was right.
Yeah, exactly.
I knew.
Exactly.
It's one thing for this guy to argue like we shouldn't criminalize underage sex workers, but it's a whole other argument to say we shouldn't criminalize the people who are their customers, who are committing a crime.
He also says he basically says that law enforcement has a problem with it because how dare they go after the people hurting kids is what he's saying.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I can't believe it's even a discussion.
Yeah,
Like, I can't believe that.
But the thing is like what they've done is they've done this over time. They've introduced this little by little into the culture, first in the universities, on fringe websites, into the universities, slowly over time into entertainment, especially post 2016 in the election when the Overton window started to shift so drastically in Hollywood. It put this stuff far more mainstream. We're going to be talking later about an incel video from 2018 that's wasn't that long ago, but the culture was already shifting by that point, and Hollywood was starting to put out more and more absolutely bonkers stories because they're detached from what you, I, or the average everyday person understands as the real world. Because Hollywood is in many ways its own little bubble. It's a very, very wealthy, very, very
It's fantasy land,
and it's a very influential bubble, but it is a bubble nonetheless, and it's scary because at the end of the day, they have tremendous influence and they wield tremendous influence over the generations, right? There's still plenty of people that are going to go out to movies. There's still plenty of people that watch these TV shows. Maybe not as much as did in the past, but it's terrifying. So
I also wanted to read this part from his article in Bloomberg. He said, anti-trafficking experts argue that the film's presentation of trafficking is misleading. Data points to a different picture as what is depicted in the film. The Counter-Trafficking Data Collaborative found that 67% of the children who are trafficked are 15 to 17 years old rather than young children. In 41% of the cases, a family member was involved. So, yeah, that data is about the majority of situations. But again, we've said this so many times, that's not what the movie was about. And they're not obligated to make a movie about the majority of the cases.
yeah.
I mean, aren't these people the ones who want movies made about minority experiences?
Well, then you'd have to have different people make it because they wouldn't want the people who are making this movie to be making those movies or telling those stories anyways. And they wouldn't want that anyways because they're Catholics, right? Because Jim Caviezel is a Catholic, because the producers of the movie are Catholics, and Hollywood has a strong bias against Catholicism and just about any religion that's popular here in the West right now.
Yeah.
So, also, it is fair to point out, however, that Donald Trump did have a screening of this movie with Tim Ballard and Jim Caviezel there. He also apparently played the music video to try that in a small town.
He did?
Yes. Yeah, he
Oh,
did.
I didn't know that
So,
part.
yeah. So I'm just
That's
picturing Trump
funny.
doing the Trump dance
Yeah.
with the T-Rex arms to a song where it doesn't really work with the, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, and he's just sitting
That
there.
confidence, though.
Yeah, well, he's got the ultimate confidence when it comes. I think it's the hat, because he always does it with the hat on when he's at the ralies. He puts the hat on and it turns him into a dance machine. It's just a very, very, very like slow moving and spatially very, very still dance machine. He doesn't move around a lot. He just kind of sways from side to side. It kind of looks like if he just moved his arm down, he could slow dance with Melania at the same pace. But I love it.
Also, Variety put out an article about who can learn from the Sound of Freedom's success, because this past weekend they were second to Mission Impossible at the box office over Insidious, The Red Door, Indiana Jones, and Elemental, making $27.3 million.
And right now, topping Mission Impossible in per screen average for a seat sold, which is really, really good.
And you said that this article is surprisingly fair
Yeah.
to
Oh, yeah.
Angel Studios.
They don't do a lot of the really, really over the top labeling. They don't do
Scared me.
it gets easier, I promise. It gets a
Came out
lot
of nowhere.
easier. It's that's what she said. But yeah, so it says Sound of Freedom is budgeted at $14.5 million. It really just runs through the facts of the matter. And you know what? People would be willing to be a lot more generous and fair to your publications if you wrote these things without some type of biased agenda behind it. So it's nice to see stuff like that once in a while. It says it's worth noting that Sound of Freedom was originally shot in 2018 before QAnon gained mainstream traction, but the practices of Ballard's Operation Underground Railroad have drawn criticism for false claims before, and the organization says has since stepped away from it. So it's like they point things out, but they don't go over the top with the labeling. They're not saying that you and your grandma who go to see this movie are both Q members. Like I said, when I was there, I had the poor lady with the walker, and I'm just picturing her with a Q walker and her cute t-shirt.
But it's not like the whole theater was full of
No.
elderly people. Like, it was all ages.
Yes.
It's just
Fair.
a good movie, even minus all the controversy behind it. I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah. You said that, did you tear up?
I did. I have this thing where I don't like to cry like at movie theaters, and that was one of the hardest ones.
Yeah.
I was really choking it back.
It's it's really funny. I was pointing out to somebody else. I said it depending on what makes you emotional, it could hit you from different places. Like the sheer like degeneracy and the sheer evil of what you see early on is enough to make anyone sick to their stomach, right? But like imagine at the end if they'd not gotten the happy ending of the movie, that would have been soul crushing in a lot of ways, and perhaps more realistic.
Well, the
right?
ending is still a little bit crushing because you know that it's an unresolved issue globally. And I was just left feeling kind of angry and genuinely confused and asking like, why do these people do this? Like, it's a very complicated question. I definitely don't have the answer.
Yeah, I
But-
feel like I've been thinking about that for like 10 years since I was first like woken up, and I don't think I've ever gotten closer to understanding why people want to do that and why it's still continuing. I mean, I do to an extent understand why it's going on, and there's lack of action and, you know, a lot of nefarious.
Also, to know that the U.S. is one of the biggest consumers and producers of that type of
shocked me.
content
Yeah.
is scary because, like, there are people walking around in society who you'd have no idea are complicit or active in that type of crime.
Yeah.
So,
I just don't know if it's one of those things where it's a lot of it is definitely because of the money that's behind it, right? So the type of money that wields power in an industry like that and something like that and something that awful also wields tremendous influence in something like Hollywood, which
And
or,
the
or
government.
politics in the government because you sway public through policy, and movies and television because you sway the public through entertainment.
Right.
All of it is about power and control over the populace, just like controlling the lives and the fate of children is something that an evil minority of people would want to be able to monetize and control. So goes the same when they're talking about governmental policy or what movies are getting made or in many ways denied, like Sound of Freedom was in 2018 after they finished production and Disney said, no, I'm sorry. I don't think we're going to put this out. A lot of kids go missing every year. We're just going to leave it be because
At Disneyland.
No, that's true, right? Like, who is it? Who is Jeff Dye? Or comedian did a bit where he's like, I was in town for a show in Orlando and I wanted to go to Lego World. They wouldn't let me in because he was there without a kid. And he's like, in the bit is basically, he's like, we're trying to cut back on child abductions. And he goes, cut back? Shouldn't your goal be to stop the child abductions altogether? Right? But it's basically the idea is like they wouldn't let the guy in there because he's an adult male going to a park where there's a bunch of children. It's automatically creepy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like even if his intentions aren't that,
Yeah.
you know, they're just not going to risk it.
Well, because they can't have other people coming in and taking their source.
Yeah. I think at the end of the joke, his point is because he says it wouldn't prevent an abduction because now I'm just going to go abduct a kid to bring him to the park so that I can get in.
Yeah.
So it's scary to see that these type of people have such influence in industries that are so wide reaching. And it's not like this is any different in any other aspects of society, just like they control the food lobby or the gun lobby or any of this stuff, all the things in which you exercise any amount of you'll get used to it. You'll get used to it, guys.
Because it's
Like,
coming right
I
out.
did better that time.
yeah. All right. It's just, it's very scary to see. And it's scary to see that there's writers who are willing to go to bat for such monstrous causes in mainstream press outlets like Bloomberg. I'm assuming Bloomberg is the same Bloomberg who ran for president last
Yes.
election cycle.
Yeah, he was the governor
right?
of New York.
Yeah. So, like, it's shocking to me that we as a society accept that. But what I've found is, like, even when a movie like this wakes the public up, or at least wakes up a segment of the population, like you said, what was your story about you felt like the police at the mall?
Yeah, I recently had to report suspected traffickers at a mall because I recognized what group they were from, and I had been approached by them several times throughout the years. And before I noticed that when I was talking to cops or security guards about them, they really didn't understand what I was talking about or take it as seriously as they should have. And this time, I just felt that it was markedly different. I don't know if they had seen Sound of Freedom, but I suspected that they might have, because immediately they were like, oh, like, we've heard about that. Like, oh, this happens in the real world. And I know cops lean right, so maybe they're more likely to have seen it too. Maybe I'm just delusional in making that up, but I feel like given how popular this movie is, it's not unlikely.
But you'd think that with their profession, they would already know that stuff exists because it's part
You
of
would
their
think
job.
that,
Exactly.
but you know, they often don't take that type of crime seriously, or they look past it. So
Well,
People
the movie
are so far removed from it that they don't
Yeah,
like,
or they're
think
far
that it's
removed from
happening. And this is kind of like a reminder that you can't look away from, that it is still.
yeah.
But the movie's made $100 million. I was wrong. I offer my mea culpa. I said I didn't think it was going to hit $100 million. It continued to
I
grow.
thought that it would at least take until the end of this upcoming weekend
Yeah.
for them to get there, and it's looking like they're soaring past those heights. So
I love that.
That's great.
It's funny too, because it's like they use a lot of examples when they're talking about it, about a lot of what they call faith-based films that don't make that kind of money. I'm like, that's because nobody watching this movie
That's
would
because
call
those
it faith-based.
actually are faith-based films, which are niche, and this is not that.
The faith-based movies are just, they tend to be very, very
They are high on the cheese factor. If that's what you're into, that's fine. But
I liked Father Stew. I thought Father Stew was really,
That was
really
great.
well done, but otherwise it's just not the type of thing that the average person, they don't have the infrastructure to sell what they're trying to sell to you the same way that Hollywood does, which is much more sophisticated in its messaging.
Yeah.
Granted, these days it's not as good, but it used to be very, very good. They used to be very,
I
very
can't
good
even
with
think of a
propaganda.
faith-based movie apart from like Passion of the Christ.
Also starring Jim Caviezel.
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw Silence starring Ethan Hawke, and I thought that was a good one.
Wait,
I
is
love
that the
Ethan
one
Hawke.
with
Based in Japan.
Ethan Hawke and what's the other one that came out recently with Andrew Garfield? There was also one
Oh
starring
yeah,
Andrew
there
Garfield.
was another one starring Andrew Garfield. What was that called?
But I didn't see that one, but I know people like that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I should watch that.
So, but I don't think that one was really thought of as
It was the one where
faith-based
he said that he had to practice celibacy to prepare
for
for
like
his
a
role.
year. And like Kiki Palmer, somebody made fun of him for it online.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
just being a jerk. All right, let's go to Super Chats.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, "It's a listen to PCC while working day for me, but I'm cleaning my new apartment. No time crunch means more time for Super Chats. Welcome, Sarah and Kara."
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah and Kara. You guys have
I
like
like
a
it.
duo
It
name
works.
now.
Hard to
We
forget.
need to get the other Sarah on here too.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody mentioned Nefarious. Nefarious was good.
That was really good.
Nefarious.
Oh, yeah.
I
I recently saw that
preferred
one, too.
Exemplum. Exemplum is also a religious film, but you can go see Exemplum now on Tubi. So I think everyone should go check that out. Made for like less than 10 grand.
Wow. That is
really, really
impressive.
good.
Sweet Potato Knight said, "I'm disappointed. I came here for Seamus." Silence.
Well, there's no spoons
We don't
here,
have
so
spoons.
how
Yeah, we don't
many-
have, we're out of
on this
potatoes
show.
and
there are no
spoons.
spoons here to steal, therefore
So.
there's no Seamus here. Also, there's a $20 one there from Poppin' Frags.
He said, "Truly an eye-opening film to atrocities that occur every day. It really shows when this is something everyone can get behind, no matter where you reside politically, and you see the hate it gets anyways."
But it gets politicized. That's the problem, right? Is that it's been turned into a left versus right issue when the saving of children should not be something that is in any way political. I don't care who you are, and I don't care what politician it is of either side. If there's somebody who's in support of something like this, you should absolutely work to take them down, to get them
We've got
out,
another
to get
one
them arrested,
from
whatever has to
Dave
happen.
Gazuli. He said, "This Shack and Frailty are two examples of faith-based movies if you haven't seen them."
Yeah,
I
The
have,
Shack was a book. It was a
I've-
book first.
What is it?
The Shack was a book
what's
first,
it
I
about?
believe.
Who wrote
A
it?
man goes into a cabin in the middle of the forest. I think he lost his wife. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But it's basically him discovering God when he didn't believe at first. So he was there by himself, spoke with God. It was pretty interesting. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that's the
No, we
synopsis.
believe you.
Okay, thanks.
Shane H. Wilder said, "So now our Super Chats can be judged like we're in a Roman Coliseum. Are you not entertained?"
Exactly.
Alex Guilfoy said Putt Putt was fire. Someone knows what I'm talking about. See, I thought that was like a fever dream, but that happened.
Let's do one more and let's move on.
Corey Anderson said, "Mary, since becoming a super famous podcaster, what is the weirdest, grossest DM you have ever received? You know, honestly, probably it was before I was a podcaster.
Think so?
But there are just so many that it's too difficult to remember. It all just blends together at some point.
Also,
the weirdest DMs I receive are when it's literal diary entries, like essays, where someone believes that we have a personal relationship because they're like actually schizo. Like I've seen multiple times that happens.
They're like, I saw you yesterday.
Or sometimes they go silent for a few months and then they come back and like, oof.
Did you ever see that story about the guy who would send the same girl a good night text every night, and then he stopped? Like he made it like a it's like a study where he's like he sent this woman a good night text every night. She never responded. Like I guess she responded like a couple of times. He goes, and then I just stopped sending it.
Yeah.
And he goes, I waited until the holidays when people are at their emotional lowest, and I stopped sending the messages. And she got really upset. Like why is this simp that I never respond to not giving me my daily dose of dopamine? I think part of me thinks that was like a skit.
Yeah, I think it was.
But it's a brilliant skit if it is. Also, I did go through and I hit the like button on all of those super chats.
We've got another one from Matthew Elliott. He said, hello from New Hampshire. Do you think the woke movie genre will last? Is America killing this movement through pocketbooks? Mary is New Hampshire crush.
NH.
Is that true?
What about? I don't get the last part. Mary is New Hampshire. What is crush? Some Gen Z slang I don't know about.
I don't know.
I'm.
Will the
crisis party.
Hold on.
What in the world? This is loud.
It's always fun when it's your first crisis party.
My favorite is
thank you.
my part is not
cool.
just
I haven't partied in a long time.
it's not just people's reactions up here. I imagine the poor people working downstairs who then hear it and go, who are just sick of it. So remember, guys, every time you help me get a crisis party, you also help me annoy the people downstairs.
Like Seamus.
Like Seamus with his spoon thievery. You help with that, ladies and
I don't
gentlemen.
get it, because how can you eat a potato with a spoon?
No idea. It doesn't seem plot. Well, or
mashed.
you could, mashed
Are
potatoes.
the woke
mashed.
movies gonna last?
Yes. Yeah, they will.
I think they don't care how much money they make or if they make a profit off of it.
Yeah.
It is all about the ESG score and all about what they feel is their moral duty.
Yep. I think the best thing you can hope for is that find the writers and the directors and the actors who have a strong body of work that you enjoy, who seem to pick good projects, and start using it as a way of kind of holding yourself responsible for what you give your time to. We actually don't get to do that here because we kind of have to look at
Yeah.
Fun fact, if I did not do this show, I would not know that there was a Barbie movie being made.
You would not watch Velma.
I
you would not
I-
watch Rings of Power.
I would definitely
you would
not watch Velma.
Obi-Wan.
But
there are so many examples.
But the idea here is like, look, you don't just watch movies passively, say, oh, I like that one and move on. You say, who directed that? And I know this is like asking a lot of everyone as the consumer to have to do this, but say who acted in this, who directed this, I like their work, and then look for that work when it comes out next, so that way you know you're not just blindly, then if it sucks that time, at least you were going in there hoping for something where there's a good track record before it. There's plenty of people going into things hoping for good movies now, where the person directing it has no right to have your faith in their work. So look for people you like. Like, for instance, the guys who worked on the X-Files, not Chris Carter, but all of the other guys, everyone who worked on Breaking Bad, your Mad Men, those series, look for their work. The guys who made Sons of Anarchy, the guy who made Sons of Anarchy went on to make Mayans and MC, which is not an awful continuation of Sons of Anarchy. It's not as good as the original, but you can put a little bit more faith behind the work of somebody who's made stuff you like, especially if it's more recently. If it's old, it's before the mind virus set in. Sometimes you don't have a choice, but you look for their recent work and you hope for the best.
That's great advice.
Yes.
We have more. Sanity Claus said, come on, people, pony up. We need to give these 4 lovely ladies a crisis party. On a completely unrelated note, where is Brent today?
I will turn this podcast around right now, and I will take this podcast home, and you will get no dinner. You will go to bed without dinner if you are not careful.
Matthew Elliott said.
Oh, let's hold off on the.
We have more $20.
Oh, let's go. Go for it.
Matthew Elliott said the state of New Hampshire has a crush on Mary. It's a compliment.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's a lot of people.
That's imagine that. Mary's just like
That's a lot.
Like
whole
that
state.
that inbox must
Yeah.
be just massive.
A lot of
Baron
free
of Gray
theaters.
Matter said, let's see the panel do their best mocking impressions of the new NPC AI TikTok trend.
Well, we've got
Ultra
a-
cringe, be well. All.
We've got a fourth topic in which you guys can be encouraged to do your best. Yes. Ice cream so good.
That is
Oh,
so
gosh,
weird. I
okay.
just saw 2 of those videos yesterday, and I don't get it.
Do you want to do your impression of it?
Oh
or-
no,
Yeah,
no, it's cringe.
It's beneath your dignity.
Yeah,
truly.
no, I wish I didn't see that.
And
It
then
was an
we've
assault to
got-
my eyes.
Ian Crossland asked, Brett, will you shave your head and pierce your upper lip if we get $1,000 in super chats? Come on, man.
It took
Bring back the
3,000.
lip piercing.
It took 3,500 to get me to dye my hair blonde, my friend. You're gonna have to go higher than that, and even then, no. No, my friend.
The
I
piercing
apologize.
is too far.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
too
not.
far.
I'm not. I mean, I've shaved my head before, no problem, and I want to do that now because I want to get rid of the blonde because I hate the
No.
blonde. But you know,
We'll give you
but-
purple
Can't imagine
shampoo.
why.
I stand the blonde.
Yep. All right. Well, let's hold off on the rest. We will come back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on. So, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, there's a writer's strike going on. There's a writer's strike. There's an actor's strike. And if you want further proof that the studios are the good guys in this setting, we are going to show you a couple of videos that are going to make you root for the billionaires. As hard as that may be to believe, and as much as you might hate the studios for putting out the garbage that they're making, you will hate the people who wrote and acted in these scenes even more.
Elijah Schaefer posted this today saying this is Hollywood's take on incels. Thank you.
Hold, please.
Hold, please.
Hold, please. It doesn't get old. I promise.
over here.
Oh, here's a fun fact. Before we move on. So I looked at a sheet because we have because of the way that we do the crisis parties and everything here, because of the way that it's set up, every super chat we ever get gets logged into like an Excel sheet. So I went through and I did the math, and we've had over 13,500 super chats to this show.
Oh, wow.
And it does like if you look at what it is with the amount of live episodes we've done, which is 290, it came out to about 40 to 45 super chats per show. So thank you guys, because you are the ones who make this show possible, and you help me and Mary torture our guests
Yeah.
with crisis parties. It's the
So
best part.
anyway,
torture.
this comes from an episode of Chicago Med that came out in 2019 titled All the Lonely People, which features an incel. Let's watch it.
Let's watch it here, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
It's going to be really
you're,
bad.
You're
okay?
gonna. I don't.
Fair warning.
If you cringe easily, this is going to be rough. Here we go. Hold on.
There's been a shooting!
Mr. Mitchell, I'm Dr. Charles. This is
I love the
Dr.
music.
The music is so over the
You've had
top.
quite a day, haven't you? I bet you when you woke up this morning, you didn't think you were going to end up here.
Does that feminoid have to be here?
Excuse me?
Feminoid. Void. Tell her to get out.
Okay, you're going to treat Miss Curry with respect, and you don't get to decide who's in this room or who isn't. Do you understand me? Why don't you tell me what happened this morning?
And Stacy got what she deserved. Bitch wouldn't even have a cup of coffee with me.
Stacy's not. He doesn't mean somebody actually named Stacy. He's talking Chads and Stacy's.
Yes.
Stacy?
They are in control. They have sex whenever they want it. But no matter what I do, they deny me.
Okay.
I deserve love. But they won't give it to me. They only give it to those shallow, stupid alphas.
This is him a month ago. No matter what I do, women deprive me of my right to sexual pleasure. They're the enemy, and it's time to get even. He posted this yesterday.
I'm 28 years old and I'm still a virgin. Women treat me like I'm scum. I will slaughter them. I am the true alpha male, and I will make them pay.
I think her reactions are the best part.
So dramatic.
Yes.
Pursing her lips disapprovingly.
It's an epidemic.
Epidemic.
I mean, what is?
Loneliness.
Forget COVID. Loneliness is the real pandemic.
Yeah. So this was apparently based on Elliot Rodger, who was the Isla Vista shooter in Santa Barbara. I believe that happened in 2017. And then his YouTube channel was found after the fact, where he talked about being an incel, and he used the words Chad, Stacy, femoid, all of those different lingo from 4chan. And basically he started to get like a cult following on social media after the fact, just because of those videos. And they decided to race swap him to a white guy for the purposes of this storyline in Chicago Med. And I looked at the IMDb page for this episode, and one review said this was jumping the shark. In a show that's already pretty melodramatic, this episode was difficult to choke down. Every storyline was over the top ridiculous. And this was poorly written, edited, and directed. That's the least you could say about it.
The funny thing is like there's an interesting story that could be told about somebody who's extremely lonely. It is hilarious that this kid is like, he's just a traditionally kind of like handsome looking kid.
Right?
Like
Yeah.
that kid had a hot prom date. I guarantee you that kid had a hot prom
no
date.
incel.
He's not an incel, but there's an interesting story to be told about somebody in a culture that is increasingly lonely, whether it's because we're so heavily involved in digital communication now. We do seem to be more divided and more alone than we've ever been, despite being more connected than society has ever actually
The point
been.
of making episodes in network television or movies about incels isn't to try to reach understanding about that online community or about the loneliness epidemic in men specifically. It's just to continue dehumanizing them.
Yep.
And they don't even do their basic research on how these people talk or what they believe, because in that clip he says feminoid. Like, that is not...
Yeah, who says
Yeah, it's
that?
to make men look toxic.
The word is
yeah.
femoid. That's the one that they use. Femoid, whatever. It's not feminoid.
This is not
It's
new.
just written by a bunch of boomers.
This is not
who are now
new.
striking because they're not making enough money and royalties off of their shitty shows.
This is not new in Hollywood. All you have to do is go back and look through any network television show, especially police procedurals that show you middle America.
There's an incel episode of SVU. There's an incel episode of FBI Most Wanted.
I don't even mean that. I mean, I'm talking long before this was even a trend. I'm saying look at the way that Hollywood shows you middle America in television and movies. It's always an extremely stereotypical, over-the-top, extremely toxic version of what somebody in middle America actually is. They never... Right. It's one of the reasons... I was talking to somebody who said the reason that I loved certain shows back then was that they had an ability to show middle America with a little bit of joy and a little bit of kindness, whereas now everybody is a one-note caricature because, let's face it, it's because of Donald Trump. They believe everyone in the Midwest or in the South, they're all basically just bloated, cartoonish figures like they perceive the president. And this is not anything
Jason
new.
Aldean fans
Yes.
to be.
Well, yes,
Just
but
clueless hillbillies.
But they've been doing this for years, long before this phenomenon with incels started. This is just their latest over-the-top caricature because a lot of times it is required to portray characters as over the top because you're trying to portray entertainment. This is not a good example of that. This is an extremely cringy and bad...
When did this come out? Sorry.
2018.
Okay.
2019, I think it was.
I
looked on IMDb.
Thought it said, well, end of the year.
It's relatively
Yeah.
new. It seems like it's from the early 2000s, the way that they filmed it.
This
I mean,
also,
that's how it is for a lot of network television. It just never moves because the audience for it
All old people.
stays elderly.
So, you know, there is somewhere in the world right now, there's a Helen and a Bruce together who've been married for 50 years who are watching that show and they're like, those incels sound mighty dangerous.
They're still watching
Helen.
NCIS and all
they
of
are.
those shows.
Yep.
So
So I'm just saying, they're getting
keeping
the wrong
network
idea.
television alive, the dying medium. And then there was another clip that was posted in response to this from something that was featured on Channel 4 about incels and the black pill ideology. So
Hold on.
let's take a look at that one next.
Here we go.
He's searching on the dark web for incel black pill ideology.
Hold on, I have to put it back on screen wide.
Wait, do it full screen.
I can't see.
Yeah.
It's very much in the realm of the way that they did in the Batman.
This is how Hollywood portrays the dark web. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
Google, you know, you just go on there and you search black pill ideology.
And it just goes into your brain simultaneously. Elon Musk is working on his own version of this right now to just download the black pill ideology right into your brain.
It's a Matrix attack.
Not into it.
But is there anything that I'll give Hollywood this? Back in the day, they would also go over the top when they would portray actors. So it's like if you ever watched a show that involved any type of meta storytelling, meaning like an actor playing an actor, that actor usually was portraying a stuck-up, spoiled, rich person who had everything given to them, was a complete whiner. So it's going over the top is not unique to just your political enemies. It's something that Hollywood has done for a long time.
Yeah.
This is just a particularly horrible example. And if you think these people deserve more royalties, just rewatch these clips on loop and it will remind you that they do not in fact need a raise.
Here are some comments. One said, I personally love searching incel black pill ideology on the dark web. Make sure to include the hyphen and downloading sexism. Another one said, I'm pretty sure you don't need dark web search to find incel ideology. Just open Twitter and scroll.
Reddit. You could just Reddit and find it. You'd be fine. You'd be fine.
One said, when you say that women should lose weight on twitter.com.
So somebody says watches Ben Shapiro once in the
Hello,
chat.
fellow kids. What have we all been dark web searching lately?
Oh, it's my favorite part of network television. They're like, I found it on the dark web. It's like the music gets really, really, really deep and heavy, and they're like, dun dun dun.
What is the dark web? Is that when it's on like night mode?
Yes. When you turn your phone from day
Yeah.
mode to night mode, you're on the dark web. That's how that works. Like your searches are different when
Well,
your
I'm
phone.
on it every night.
Yeah,
So I'm not-
exactly.
I'm a boomer, apparently.
The funny thing is, I don't see as much of this in the movies. The movies are just generically bad most of the time, and sure, Barbie's going to be overloaded with feminism. I don't know if I've seen a movie with something
that movie's
that
gonna
bad.
black pill ideology me. I'm gonna download some sexism from Barbie. That's for sure.
Mary just
Pink
goes
pill.
home and just immediately she's like straight to the dark web.
Yep.
She's like, I went to the Barbie movie and now I'm going straight.
It
to the dark web.
radicalized me into the black pill ideology.
But just look at the kid. He's like just a normal looking adult male. He looks completely normal.
I mean, that is kind of the case for a lot
Is
of
that what it
self-proclaimed
is?
incels. I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them are just perfectly normal-looking guys who think, for some reason, probably because of all of this like confirmation bias they have from the insular community, that there's something fundamentally wrong with them that makes them unlovable.
Maybe it's Hollywood telling them that they're bad every day for the last 10 years.
Definitely got to be part of it. And it's weird because I saw this article about Barbie and this mom who took her daughter to see it, or she said she's going to take her daughter to see it, and it emasculates men, and her daughter said she was so excited to see it for that reason. And it's like, you're doing predictive programming on men so that they will fulfill that prophecy for you. If you constantly try to take men down a peg and degrade them and dehumanize them, they're going to be the type of weak men that we hate as women.
That's not feminist at all.
No.
Like just putting down the other gender and like
Yeah.
I mean, like infiltrating your daughter's mind at that young of an age is also like borderline. I feel like child
It's
abuse.
abusive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Did I ever tell you that? I think I've told you the story that I was walking to work one day, and there was a lady walking down the street with a child, and she was
Yes.
wearing a shirt that said, "All men are R-wordists."
oh wow.
Yep.
And it sounds fake, but it literally
No,
happened.
that was one that and the door
He
holding
held the
story.
door open
yeah.
for the wrong woman.
But
one
like
day.
those
It
were
was
the
like-
stories that
Did you
kind
hold
of
the door open for her?
not her, not no.
No,
this is a-
this other woman said, like, next time you try to hold the door open for a perfectly able-bodied adult woman, just don't.
This is like 2010.
Yeah.
We're like I wasn't
Back in 2010,
and I was
that's
looking down.
crazy.
I wasn't looking at her. So like those were two of the early examples that I can think of where you're like, wow, there's stuff going on in the world that I'm clearly not pardoned to because I had no clue that there was that type of belief system because I didn't go to a typical 4-year college, so I did not get indoctrinated in that way. But hearing that type of stuff was shocking, and it took less than a decade from it to make it from the universities to television and movies, and it's worse than ever before. It was already showing its rearing its ugly head in Hollywood by that point. It was just more nuanced in its storytelling because at the time, seemingly, the people who made the movie seemed to still care about a profit, whereas they don't seem to really care about that now.
Yeah. It seems like Ken in the Barbie movie is about to be like an incel caricature. He has this storyline where he becomes the deranged, toxic ex-boyfriend, but he was never really Barbie's boyfriend and had an unrequited affection for her. So he decides to try to implement a patriarchy in Barbie land. It's
Doesn't that
all
sound
very,
fun?
it just sounds like a world of fun.
Doesn't that sound fun?
Sounds like a bucket of laughs.
It is. It is also worth pointing out, like, you shouldn't focus on this stuff entirely. Like like stuff can be annoying and stuff can be stupid from time to time. But I go out and I skate and I kind of forget for a while that there is the stupid stuff in the world, and a lot of it is terminally online behavior. Like if you were not on your phone, if you were not looking at this stuff and constantly inundating your own brain with a bunch of material that these algorithms have cherry picked for you because it's what you've clicked on, would you even know a lot of it is happening? And a lot of times you wouldn't.
And I sometimes wonder how much your subconscious can really differentiate between your own thoughts and the thoughts that you read online and those of others. So that's something that that's why I try to limit how much screen time I have and how much I'm on the internet reading this stuff, because I'm like, in my conscious mind, I can differentiate, but I'm like, how toxic is this to someone's subconscious mind? We don't even know.
Do you find that? Do you try to limit your online time or like limit the way that you look things up?
There are days, where my brain is just oversaturated with social media, and you just got to put it away sometimes because you can find yourself just scrolling.
And then you end up on the dark web.
You end up on the dark web, and you're like, you're looking up stuff on INCELS, and you're like, maybe I need to go like touch grass for just a little bit of time.
It's like you're reading other people's thoughts the whole time. They're not yours, and suddenly you're starting to think like that. It's like, okay, time to put that away.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good. Like to me, I kind of developed that through like when I got sober. Like there's a $20 one right there from Mikey.
He said, my personal favorite happened in New York where I held the door open and was told I already have a boyfriend.
That's there's been there have been some great skits about that.
And that's like also the girl thinks that basic chivalry is some kind of sexual advance, which is so
not true.
Odd, you know?
How far the bar has fallen where that is now like some type of symbol of that.
It's like you want men to be shitty to you.
Yeah.
I mean, what about when girls hold the door open for each other? Then what?
I mean, everyone should do it.
That's sisterhood.
Yeah, no, it's just the polite thing to do is to hold the door open for the person behind you. What's like? Are you supposed to slam it so that like
yes,
specifically make sure the door is fully closed before a woman comes to the door?
I'm also one of those people where like, because that's just how I was raised. I've on more than one occasion been stuck in the situation where you hold it open for an awkward amount of time, where like you misjudge how fast they're walking. Yeah. So I'm like holding it. And I'm like, holy crap, they are moving slower than I thought. But if I let go now, it's just
like
rude.
bad timing.
We've made eye contact.
Too deep in it.
So I'm just like,
they're past the 10-foot line.
Like saying goodbye and walking in the same direction.
that happens. So I'm that person, right? You hold the door open because it's the polite thing to do. But there's some great videos though, where a guy, like this girl's walking and a guy's like trying to get her attention. She goes, I have a boyfriend, and like she's walking into the street as like a car is coming.
Into oncoming traffic.
Yeah, and it's basically like it's not bad. Like it ends up like an ice cream truck veers out of the way and like an ice cream cone falls and hits her, and it's looked like it took a lot of time to make or something like that. But he's like, ma'am, but the funny part is she can't hear it because she's got her headphones in, but she's still, without even hearing what this guy's saying, she's like, I've got a boyfriend. I've got a boyfriend, and then she just gets covered in ice cream.
Yeah, we should just bring back arranged marriages.
Oh, wow. That is the hot take for the
Hot
day
take.
right there.
It's the solution to all of
That's what you want? You want them to just bring back
No, not
opposed.
actually, but it could help.
some acres in you want people to sell
A
like
mule,
a
what is
pack
it,
mule?
40 acre- yeah.
Dude, Love Island and all of these reality shows are literally trying to do arranged marriage, just not arranged by your parents. I guess it's arranged by
Do they work out well?
the studio. I mean, sometimes. Sometimes there are couples from like Love is Blind that end up staying together. Usually they divorce, but it is like geared toward getting married at the end.
What was the one that you were telling me about the other day? It was like wife swap or
Oh yeah,
like
wife swap. That's like my guilty pleasure.
what was this when you were talking about? It was like the family, like one of the family couldn't read or something like that.
Oh yeah, it was like basically someone swapped with another family and the kids were homeschooled, and the wife that went to the other people's house were like did not go to traditional school, could not read, like literally were not able to read.
The kids couldn't read, or the wife?
The children.
Oh,
yeah, the kids couldn't read. I don't know about the wife, but
Not representative of all homeschoolers.
Yeah, well, that's the
Yeah,
point.
no,
That's
I
the point,
agree.
right? It's just a propaganda piece
Yeah.
against the idea of homeschooling. And everyone, that was like, it's really funny how like even before the internet, the same things were always said. Like I grew up in an age where the internet wasn't really a thing. I still remember they're like, if your kids don't go to traditional school, how will they fit in? That's what everybody was always told. It's kind of like the Marilyn Manson rumor about Marilyn Manson, like apparently removing his own rib so that he could, do the thing.
Think about Andrew Tate.
So that he could think about Andrew Tate and Gluck Gluck. But like
Yikes.
everybody heard those same rumors, even though the internet
Well,
wasn't there to
is that
spread
the Mandela effect or is that a different thing?
I think that's a different thing.
Okay.
To be fair, I've interacted with a lot of former homeschoolers, and some of them are definitely not all the way socialized. I'll just say
But that can happen with people who go to regular school too.
That's true, but there's a very specific character to it.
Look at this
It's hard
kid.
to explain.
Look at this kid. I bet he went to traditional school, and look what he's doing with his life.
Yeah.
Look what's become of him.
Look what's become of him. It doesn't
I'm
matter.
not saying it's better to go to public school than get
Were you
homeschooled, by the
homeschooled?
way. No, I happened to go to a college that had majority former homeschooled kids, and just a lot of them, needed that time in college to be in the real world before they're actually let loose.
Yeah.
Because they're not, they're not fully socialized adults yet.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Super Chats. We got some up there.
Corey Anderson said, Shoe on Head did a video on that group. They're disgusting.
Yep, we talked about it.
I watched the video actually while someone was repairing our AC.
And
So
I'm
he had to listen to it too.
He's just like, wow, interesting subject matter you guys are covering here.
I don't know what this currency is or if this is equivalent to $20. So sorry if we didn't read it.
It's not if it's blue.
Okay. Matthew Dixon said Brett and Seamus can't be trusted. Give back the spoons. Now Brett's involved in this.
I've got a fork here.
Brett is a fork guy.
I've got a fork here. So I don't know if that's incriminating or in any way a sign of guilt.
It's the opposite. It admonishes you.
Exactly. I would never steal a spoon. That's ridiculous.
Who would do that?
I can't put a spoon in the outlet. No, I'm just kidding.
Nathan Koss said PDF files always had a public platform. The platform used to just have a beep attached to it. I won't say that out loud because we're on YouTube. Anyway, speaking of that group, by the way, they had like a PDF file support group that was 13 and up.
Bummer, dude.
Just immediately no.
Let's just do one more because this is depressing. Let's move on.
Saverick said, imagine you needed a remaining population dumbed down on self-consumption via hip-hop and fast food. A permanent slave will not revolt against being a slave if they believe they're free of blindness.
A lot of people would say that too, right?
I enjoy me some hip-hop and fast food, though. Not gonna lie.
It is one thing to only consume popular culture and media and only consume food that's bad for you and only consume gluttonous things. It's another thing to indulge on a whim, but also keep abreast of what's going on in the world because it is kind of your duty as an informed citizen to also know what the hell is happening. But even that has been turned into entertainment. There's a reason why the news is so awful now because it is no longer about disseminating information to you in the quickest and most expedient way. It's no longer about getting you the facts. It's about shaping a narrative. Almost all news is like that. Even in the days of a Walter Cronkite, you're editorializing by choosing what you cover. So it's very, very hard. And obviously I'm being a little bit over the top on the examples I'm giving here, but it is about kind of finding a middle ground. Have the things you like. Life is kind of joyless and boring and awful if you don't have hobbies or things you enjoy doing that are entertainment, but you also do need to stay at least somewhat informed about what's going on. So let's do one more and then we'll move on.
Okay. Corey Anderson said, "State New Hampshire, get in line."
They're talking about being they love you, Mary.
Yeah.
Number one.
New Hampshire's your
That
simp
wife
army,
swap
dude.
episode was actually in New Hampshire.
Oh,
You could have been very lucky. You could have gotten that guy, the husband from that
Lucky.
the
Yeah.
husband from that marriage. All right, let's come back, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so since the internet has run out of things to complain about right now, what they're debating about is about whether Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt in the Mission Impossible movies is problematic in his relationships or even just spy partnerships with his female co-stars. They're saying that it's all very, very problematic to be Tom Cruise, who's older than his co-stars.
This article
You know how I feel
says
about this.
age gaps between Tom Cruise and his female co-stars in Mission Impossible films verge on problematic.
We got a
also got
$20 one there
Tom
from-
Bombarder. He said, "I didn't attend college until I was in my 30s. There was a gap in socialization of students at that time, 2012 to 2016, compared to when I was 18 in 1992. Autism used to be rare. People didn't just sit in the same room and text."
I just saw something the other. Now I really wish I'd written it down. There was some a celebrity who said something like mother to 2 kids with autism. And is autism genetic? Is there a genetic component to autism that would?
That's
I think
widely
they still
debated.
don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I thought that there was. I don't know.
Okay. It was somebody. It was somebody.
I'm
and I was
not a
like,
biologist.
Yeah. Well.
I don't know.
So
But anyway, is this Haley Atwell in the picture? by
in
the
this
way?
one right here, yes.
Yeah. So Haley Atwell.
Wait, no, is that Haley Atwell?
I questioned it. I don't know, but Haley Atwell is 41,
Yeah.
and the
This
age
is
gap
Haley
between
Atwell.
her and Tom Cruise is considered problematic.
Well, she's a 41-year-old
I don't
teenager.
know what to say.
Wait, do they want a
anymore.
61-year-old woman doing all these stunts?
That's
and-
okay. That's what I was gonna say. I was like,
Exactly.
let's face it, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Cruise,
real.
he's even starting to show his age a little bit in Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. Are you gonna find what is the first? Let's ask what is the appropriate age gap where this cuts off? Right? Does she have to be 50? I showed. I think I was talking to you. I was talking about like Jennifer Beals is like 62 and looks like she's in her 40s. They could have hired her, I guess, but just because she looks 60, she looks like she's in her 40s, despite the fact that she's in her mid 60s. Is she going to want to run on a bad hip? Dina Meyer is
That's
older.
very
and-
ageist of you.
Yeah, well, I'm generalizing, just
mean,
like the people about the INCELs. I'm generalizing, just like Hollywood right
it's
now.
not really about like man or woman. Everyone was saying that Harrison Ford was too old to be doing another Indiana Jones movie. It's just a fact of life, you know?
Tom Cruise is not too old. At 61, he doesn't look like he looks like he's in his 50s in the movie.
He's exceptionally well preserved.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the exception.
And that's why he always has to have at least one scene in every Mission Impossible movie where it's just a really long take of him running.
But it's also
He
like,
runs,
I'm sorry,
he runs,
a woman
he
at
runs.
41 is going to be more pleasant to look at on screen than a woman who is 61.
That is
That's
true.
just
Yeah.
true.
Actually,
that-
I would argue that Jennifer Beals is better looking than Haley Atwell, but she's the exception probably, and not the
makes
the
Well, you go to
rule.
the movies to see good-looking people.
Yeah.
Like,
Amen.
yeah.
Go off, Queen. It's like I don't want to look at movies where like if I wanted to see movies with people that look like me, I would just go out and look in the real world where there's normal
in the mirror.
looking
Some-
average people. I
Some
don't go.
responses. One said, "She was 41 years old, you sick F." Another one said, "He's 61 years old and she's literally a 41-year-old minor coworker." Another one said, "41-year-old child bride, Haley Atwell."
Oh my gosh.
They also didn't have a romance, at least not an explicit one in this movie, so that's not even a factor to be considered. They just had normal chemistry that you would expect from them.
Yeah.
But
Him and Rebecca Ferguson have a.
She's just a 41-year-old teenage girl.
It's very.
Grooming her.
It's. Do you think this is one of those things where it's just people are looking for something to complain about?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you watch that movie and look at Haley Atwell and think she looks a ton younger than Tom Cruise. She doesn't. She looks her age. She looks like she's very attractive. She's a beautiful woman, but she looks like a Hollywood 41.
They both look younger than their age, I think, slightly.
Maybe she looks like she's in her late 30s or something like that, or mid 30s.
That's what I would have guessed. She's like in her mid 30s.
Yeah.
But there was a year age gap between Tom Cruise and his female co-star in the first Mission Impossible when he was 34 and she was 33. But Ethan Hunt doesn't have an age, does he? We don't know what.
No, like it's. He's just vaguely there. Like I'm sure that there's probably in the lore that's probably explored. But
and in the second one, he was 38 and Tandy Newton was 27. The age gap jumped to 10 years, and this article says, well, this might not have raised many eyebrows at the time. It was a sign of this future trend.
Yeah, that's and there was a time when Hollywood would hire extremely young actresses to act with actors that were much, much older than them. These are not those times.
No.
This is not that time right
He's
there.
not a Leonardo DiCaprio.
Nope. There's a
What
great,
do we know about Tom Cruise's dating life?
Well, he was married to Katie Holmes.
I mean, we know less about him than we do about Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. Has this amazing video where it's a guy, he's going through all of the 20-pound weights at a thing. It's like 20, he goes to 17.5 and says Leonardo DiCaprio, and he picks up to 17.5.
But Leonardo DiCaprio was just spotted hanging out with 28-year-old models, so clearly the 25 cutoff doesn't actually exist.
He's working his way up to the 30s. Someday he will put up with a woman in her 30s, and that's when he'll finally settle. George Clooney didn't settle down.
DiCaprio is in love with himself.
Yes.
DiCaprio?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would believe that.
Well, like he's
hanging
like
out with young women helps his image, and that's like he's in a relationship with himself.
there was like this great video that we watched one time where like he's like taking pictures of him, or like he has her take pictures
there was this
of him.
model taking pictures of him in a hot tub, and then he goes and checks the photos.
He's like, that one's clearly the best.
Yeah, post
right there.
that one on your story, but delete those others. He watches as she deletes the photos to make sure.
Have you no shame?
My Juvederm looks bad in that one.
I think that's what it is for him too. Is like he's like the reason he looks so husky is because kind of like Jason Aldean, he's got like a fatter face from the Botox and the.
Tom Cruise.
He was my
far
first
away from
celebrity
that.
crush.
Tom Cruise.
Leo.
Yeah,
when I was like 4. Not anymore.
I think it's
He
just
had a twink death.
Yeah.
It's like
tragic.
For my
I went through
generation,
puberty,
it was either Amy Jo Johnson, who was the Pink Power Ranger, or it's like there was a lot of or Topanga from Boy Meets World. Everyone loved Topanga from Boy Meets World. You had
And Sean Hunter, is that the other guy?
That's
the friend.
Ryder
with
Strong.
the hair. Yeah,
his name, the actor's name was Ryder Strong.
He was my other crush.
Do you guys have current celebrity crushes? Because I don't, but I want to know if you guys do. If there had to be one,
I'll get you the
I've
list
had one
someday.
since, like-
no list. Just you have to pick one.
I got still Priyanka Chopra.
Okay.
Physically, Priyanka Chopra.
She's gorgeous.
She is. That's.
You guys?
I haven't had
don't
one in
do
a
that
long time.
anymore.
Like I think
Yeah.
back in the day, like Johnny Depp from
See?
20 years
Sure,
ago.
And
yeah, Johnny Depp,
I got
but,
flamed
like-
for saying like men are more likely to have celebrity crushes than women.
Mine is more just because we do this job every day, and otherwise I probably wouldn't think about it. But yeah. I could give you a list probably, but it's not a crush. It's just like she's hot. She's
But I
hot.
think, like,
she's hot. Like
Why do women think Timothée Chalamet is hot?
Women
It's
are the-
because they have a confirmation bias of all the other women think he's hot. So I
Women
should
are the
think he's
ones
hot.
who buy the girls who were the ones that bought the Tiger Beats and the magazines that had the boys on the covers of them and
It's a
stuff
social
like that.
contagion.
It is.
So then the next one in 2006, Tom Cruise was 43. Michelle Monaghan, who he did have a romance with in the film, was 30.
Yeah.
So that's a 14-year age gap. The next one, he was 49. Paula Patton was 36.
Rebecca Ferguson, and the funny thing is they're mentioning Haley Atwell, but Rebecca Ferguson is younger than Haley Atwell is,
Yeah.
and Rebecca Ferguson's character, the Ilsa character, is actually a legitimate love interest of his in the film.
She was 21 years younger than him at the time that was made.
And but you know what it is? They did a really good job with Jennifer Connelly in Top Gun Maverick of casting someone closer to his age who's just timelessly gorgeous. Like she's just a stunning looking lady, right? But she's closer to his age.
I think it works there. Like, people don't notice it. It's because, like, in these movies, these women have to do all these crazy stunts. So I feel like you just, like we said earlier, you cannot cast a 61-year-old who's going to be able to drive around and run around with Tom Cruise and keep up with his crazy aspects and antics. So I feel like it just, I don't know. To me, I thought 41, and he looks like he's 40 himself.
Yeah,
I feel like the age was perfect, the casting.
He doesn't look a day like older. Plus, like
His character is not 61.
No, but also
Yeah.
he goes out of his way. It helps him because he's so strident about being the one who does the stunts. So when you see the shots, it's very clearly not CGI. So it kind of adds to the fact that he looks younger than
How
he is.
often do you think he dyes his hair to get rid of the grays?
I don't know. It's a very good question. It just reminds me because
It's high
somebody
maintenance.
made a really funny comment. Like when I first had to dye my hair blonde, they said, "Did you go crazy with the bottle of Sun-In from the '90s?" I think my dad had Sun-In.
Oh my God.
So is that still a thing? Does
What
that still?
is that?
It's like something you would
It
spray in
bleaches
your
your
hair
hair?
to.
Yeah.
It's just spray
You know, you
on
spray it and then you
bleach?
go out in the sun and it bleaches your hair.
Okay, because I was told to like use lemon juice to do that.
I don't think
know
that
if
works.
actually works. I think it just fries your hair.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people try to use lemon juice. It doesn't work, but I'm telling you, if you get a bottle of Sun-In, you will be like bleach blonde in a week.
That's wild.
I don't
It
really
works
need
really
to do
well.
that.
In the
I just
chat-
do it the
Not that you need
traditional
it.
way.
Yeah.
Zach in the chat says Tom has a constant supply of adrenochrome. That could be it.
Duh.
That could be it.
Is that why he looks so young?
Until proven otherwise, I don't dismiss any possibility. I'm willing to be unbiased about that. Everyone thinks I'm like the biggest Tom Cruise fan in the world when that's not actually true. I just love the Mission Impossible movies. So he for all we know, he could be addicted to adrenochrome and hanging out at parties where Mark Wahlberg watches a bunch of crazy stuff happen. We don't know.
The thing is, like, age gap discourse has gotten so insane because it's all like put into one category. But it's like, obviously, if an 18-year-old is dating someone Tom Cruise's age, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's not weird when it's a 41-year-old grown adult woman.
Yeah.
Once you're over a certain age, I feel like it doesn't really
What's the
matter
age?
anymore.
I'm putting you guys on the spot.
Gotta
What
be
is the
fortunate,
age?
But
Where
Mature
it's
enough,
not
I would
weird.
say 21.
Yeah.
Where it's not weird. I mean, I think it's
21 for the girl.
it's weird if a 21-year-old is dating an 80-year-old guy. Like, that's
Yeah.
weird.
Like, you know what they're in
But calling
for.
it weird
That's
doesn't
not-
make it.
It's not even weird. It's predictable. You know what it's for.
Yeah,
Like,
you know that
Al
it's
Pacino.
transactional.
Yeah.
It's like Nor Falar, whatever her name is, that's married to Al Pacino, and whoever the one that's just unfortunate enough to be banging Robert De Niro. Like, you know what that's for. They don't love them. They
Not every
want-
time that it's weird, it's also predatory. Like,
People are saying
You know.
30,
oh, so like
33.
at what age does it stop being?
thank you.
Thank you guys for allowing me to scare our guest host
Yeah.
today.
Keeping me on my toes.
Yes. That's the point.
It's great.
The lights come on first.
Yeah.
Like, it's not as scary. That's what shocks me.
Exactly.
It's literally pointed
quiet.
right
Yeah.
at you.
Just
Yep.
ate my microphone.
But they, you know, they're there to get the children from them so that they can be set for life or get the divorce. And, you know, that's something that people used to joke about back in the day. That there's a show called Las Vegas that I loved. It's a very, very boomer television show. And there's an episode where this guy, he's like 80 years old. He gets out of jail and he's with this girl who's like 21. And the idea is like the whole episode, they're trying to get the guy alone so they can be like, dude, she's using you for your money. You don't actually think she likes you, right? When they finally do at the end of the episode, he's like, yeah, I know. He's like, I'm leaving all my money to charity.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, but I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts, right? So the discourse was very different in the early 2000s for stuff like that. Maybe it's because like back then they actually attributed more of your actual agency to an adult at
But
the
the
time.
problem is that it went too far. Like situations like Courtney Stodden. She got married when she was
16.
like 16
Yeah.
because she looked like she was older, but
to
that
the
doesn't
dude who played Toombs
make
from
it okay.
X-Files.
Oh, I don't know those people, but that makes me think of Aaliyah marrying R. Kelly when she was like 15.
Yeah,
16.
14
How
or
is that
15.
even
Crazy.
possible?
Parents gave permission for
Oh.
it.
So weird.
There's we could do a whole episode
I mean,
on
Priscilla
the-
Presley too.
We could do a whole episode on the abuse of the stuff that happened to Aaliyah and everyone from that, from that group back then, because that was horrible stuff that happened. And yes, and like what you just said with Priscilla Presley, which people were just starting to point out now because of
There's a new movie coming out from Sofia Coppola about Priscilla, and it's presumably going to like show more of the truth of their relationship. I guess more than the Elvis movie did, the Baz Luhrmann movie.
yeah.
And I think it's like more truthful than even Priscilla Presley is about it. Priscilla thinks that all of their relationship was normal.
Well, I feel like
'Cause it
that's
was normalized
sometimes
to
why
her.
guys will not prey on, but like there's, you know, the red pill discourse is like go for younger women because they're more impressionable. And
it's
you
like,
know.
if you think that you have to trick someone into loving you, you don't think that you're lovable. And that's sad.
Right, there's a lot of like
Yeah.
deep-seated stuff that comes from that.
Or if you think that you have to use money to make someone love you, you still, it's because you believe you're fundamentally, like, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Well, make that money and do it quick, or they're going to make an incel episode of Chicago Med about you, and it's going to be awful. And it's all going to fall apart because you're going to be like, I'm sitting here and I can't get ladies. And then these rich dudes are just like, look, this stuff is never going to go away. As long as there's these types of, class, like social classes, women will look for men that make money, and men will look for women who are okay with being with a guy just because he's got a lot of money. It's not going to go away. It's also, it shines a light on the disparity now we see now with women who make more money who don't want to be with men because it would be extremely unattractive to be with a guy who's just like, I would love to settle down with you and
On your OnlyFans retirement money.
Well, even if you're like a CEO, like they're not going to be attracted to a dude who's like, I would love to play house with you. Like that's just not going to be a thing. Maybe it happens, but it's the exception.
They also
it's
like
not the
feel like
rule.
they've sacrificed so much of their prime years to a career that they're like deserving of finding love after that.
Imagine
it's just a very
thinking-
misguided way to live your life.
Imagine thinking like, I just gave X amount of years to this faceless corporation. That means I deserve to be loved. It's like the least true thing ever. Like,
Well, it's like they think they deserve to be with someone who's just as
They've shrunken their own dating pool so much that it's more difficult.
They're pricing themselves out of the market.
Yeah,
Hate it when
literally.
that happens. Guys price themselves into the market. Women price themselves out of the market.
Yeah.
So as your wealth goes up, the woman's viability goes down and the male's viability goes up. And
it's a sunken cost thing.
She's like, I've spent 20 years working my way up to middle management at this management company. I better get something out of it, but they don't want to settle down.
Yeah.
And then Tom Cruise is over here like, I'm just going to do whatever I want. I'm going to date. I don't think these ages are.
Haley Atwell is doing just fine.
Yeah.
You know.
And I don't think these ages are ridiculous. This isn't an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old with 60-year-old Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. So it's ridiculous. All right, let's go to Super Chats.
IC Wells said, I rewatched PCU last night. How crap has that gotten more poignant with time? PCU? What is that?
Unless he means us, and the U was a mistype.
No, I don't think so.
I'm like
Shane H. Wilder.
racking my brain for it, but I can't think of it.
Shane H. Wilder said, all of my devices are on night mode. Are you saying that everything I've been looking at is part of the dark web?
Yes.
Even PCC and pints? No.
Yes, we are. We are part of the dark web. We are very, very terrifying.
You turn on night mode, you're on the dark web.
Yep.
Disco Jensen said 1 in 3 men is a virgin who hasn't had sex in a year or hasn't had sex in a year. 1 in 3 women has had an STD or an abortion. Those are the stats. Argue in the comments.
What's interesting, when I used to manage this, used to manage a gas station. There was a regular who would come in. He was an immigrant from Russia, and he was very, very much of the incel, like in the incel discussion, right? Like he liked to talk about, when you work there, you can't escape
People
the conversation.
overshared to you so
at the
much.
gas
You can't get away. You can't be like,
weird.
awesome, I gotta go. Like it's just not.
Is
a
it like
thing.
how girls go to the hairstylist to talk about their problems?
Yeah.
Guys go to the gas station.
There was certain people. There's certain people like if they come in with a stack of lottery tickets to turn in, you are screwed. But this guy, he was plenty nice. He was a nice enough guy, but he would list those stats and talk about like the the inequity of sexual relationships with men and women. And I think like at one point
You were like,
At one point, I was like, "Have you said hi to him?" I mean, I wasn't. No, I'm like, I wasn't trying to be mean to the dude. I'm just
go
like,
up and talk to
I'm like,
him.
I was like, well, there's also those videos where it's like the worst she can say is no, and the guy's like, oh no. There's a Jordan the Stallion video where somebody's like, it's the worst they can say is no. He goes, no. He goes, I went up to a girl, right? He's like, I asked her to my 8th grade dance. He's like, I worked myself up. I got all, ready. I asked her, and she just looks at me really sad and goes, That must have been very difficult for you.
Oh my god. Well, you're asking out the wrong girl.
Like,
ouch.
you know, it's however worse you think it is, it could always
always be worse.
probably be worse.
Yeah, worse. Yeah, for
I'm glad
sure.
I'm not a guy.
Yeah.
Not the easiest thing in the world, that's for sure.
No Tax Good Cax said, love what you did with your news channel this week. Just bring Phil back to counter Seamus.
Seamus will be back, or no, I'm sorry, Phil will be back next week. So, you know, they could have had some great debates on IRL this week. I also loved how he called it our news channel. Like that upstart over there, Timcast News. They're doing pretty good over there. Like, we've sent them on their way. We have.
Saverick said, to Sarah's great point of the subconscious, all data we consume from our individual experiences and external observations of others is the information that our perceptions form from.
Yep,
absolutely.
I mean, do you ever think about that? Like, do you go, like, if you go out of town or your life gets interrupted to a point where you're not living the day-to-day routine that you normally do? So, like, if I have to go do something and I'm not on my phone as much, like, do you notice, like, when that happens to you, that there's a markedly different change to your mindset? Like, by not being on your phone, you see the world a little bit differently.
It's a little brighter, honestly, yeah.
And okay, let's put it this way. You can go on YouTube and you can look up, there's a whole industry of people who make videos that say, I went a year without the internet, I went a year without a smartphone, this is what happened. I'm going to let you in a little secret. None of them come back and are like, my life was awful. It was horrible. No, they're like, look, the world was a little bit brighter.
Yeah, you talk to
people
your
were a
people.
little bit nicer.
Yeah, exactly.
Grown up without social media being a thing. And when I switched from Samsung to iPhone, I did not download any, like, even messaging devices onto my phone or apps or whatever. And those were like the 2 happiest weeks of my life.
Wow.
And I'm still like, why did I download Instagram and Signal and all these things? It's just ways for people to, like, get a hold of you constantly.
Yep.
And it just makes it mean less when someone can just text you rather than, like, at work, like, coming up to you or saying something to you or giving you a phone call. Or, you know, it sounds like old fashioned, I guess, now, but, like, it just means so much more, and you get so much more out of your relationships when you don't have social media.
You a call person or a text person?
Oh my gosh. You know, I have bad hearing, right? So calls are a little bit rough for me. So I tend to text more, but I don't know if you guys know Marco Polo, but it's an app that you can just send videos back and forth with your friends. I do that a lot because it's kind of like texting, but you still get to see and hear that person.
I do that.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. But I'll definitely call my grandma, my family, you know, call them on the phone.
The phone calls. I love my family, but those phone calls home, it's just, it was
I
nice.
call my parents a lot.
It was nice to be home in July because I got to actually see my dad and spend time there. It's a lot different than just like calling, because when I call, it feels like I have to just give like this laundry list of updates of what the hell's going on, and it's like
you don't
it's
know
like,
when to end
did this,
it.
did this, did this, did this, did this. It's like, I think that's everything. Talk to
Well,
you
I
later.
think like in person is ideal, but because we don't have to do that anymore, you don't go out of your way to do that.
And you should.
You know,
we should.
yeah.
As people, we'd be better off doing that more often. So let's do one more and then we'll move on.
Corey Anderson said, Mary, I would like to propose marriage. Can you put me in contact with your dad?
Well, at least
This is one of those situations where the worst that could happen is no,
that was at least polite.
Yeah, we all laughed. I'm so
It
sorry.
was
I
at
don't think
least
my
polite.
dad wants to talk to you. Sorry.
All right, let's move on. So if we haven't kind of destroyed your faith in humanity entirely with this incel discussion, with the discussion about the journalist from Sound of Freedom who is knocking Sound of Freedom, we've got more for you. Mary, tell everyone about Pinky Doll and NPC streams.
Yeah, this has been on Cringe of the Day if you've been watching regularly, but we decided to actually dedicate a topic to it because this is kind of getting out of hand. NPC streaming, if you don't know, is a TikTok trend where people do live streams on TikTok, mainly e-girls, and they pretend to be non-player characters, meaning they pretend to be basically robotic, and they react to the donations that they get, which are stickers like ice cream or popcorn or
Yes, popcorn.
roses or whatever, and they have different taglines that they say based on what the donation is. And apparently some people are making a living off of this. This is news to me. but-
Pinky Doll, like
Pinky
$7,000
Doll
a
is-
day or something like that. The
wow.
crazy thing about it is like they were saying like one of those tokens is a penny. You gotta have stamina to do this crap.
Some of them are bigger donations than others, but it would be like if every time we got a super chat on the show, we reacted to it with a tagline that's like, yes, yes, yes. Like, Pinky Doll is like the one that went viral originally. And now she's being called out because she's lied about her age online. She is, in fact, 27 years old. She was born in 1996. But she has a profile where she says that she's 19. Sorry, on her OnlyFans.
And why do we think she lied about her age?
Interesting
Let's
question,
speculate.
Brett. I don't know if I like the answer.
Why do you think that is?
It's really puzzling because she still looks her age. She still looks like she is 27, right? But the perception that she is 19 is really what she's selling. She doesn't look like she's 19. It's the perception that she's younger that's more tantalizing, I guess, to a male audience.
Yeah, I think
So it's really not about looking younger.
no.
Right.
Well, I think that if the idea is that on TikTok you're advertising yourself in an SFW type way to younger people, that makes sense there. But then for the people that want to buy her not so safe for work content, they probably like the idea that she's 19 also.
And who do we think are the people giving these donations?
Yeah.
It's probably mostly men.
Entirely men.
Subscribe to her
Right.
OnlyFans,
And
right? And the point of doing these TikTok live streams is to link to your OnlyFans in your TikTok account.
And what's crazy about it is it speaks to kind of the very, very brutal business nature of what they've turned into a sexually based industry, right? So she markets this stuff to a certain way to kids, and then another way to in another way to adults, but with the same age because different markets would like that age for a different reason. And it's a lot of forethought and a lot of cunning for something that's just really creepy.
She's a very smart businesswoman.
Yeah.
I will
Very
give her that.
calculating.
She's preying on predators is what it sounds like. Preying on their money.
So yeah, she's not the most. It's just weird. Like if you watch, like I've been getting inundated with these videos now recently of people sharing them with me.
Do we have like any examples we could show
Well,
here?
we can show this one from her, where somebody says she's literally an NPC.
Jackie, gang gang, gang gang, gang gang, oh special, gang gang, rah rah rah, gang gang, gang gang, gang gang, ice cream, so take it, Jackie, gang gang, gang gang, gang gang, that was good, lemonade, hee ha, yes, you got me feeling like a cowgirl, let me write it, huh, hee ha, yes, you got me feeling like a cowgirl, let me write it, huh, slay, huh, slay, huh. Slay, huh?
This is
Ice cream so good, gang gang.
If it
gang,
makes
gang.
you,
Slay,
if
huh?
it makes you feel a little bit hopeless for humanity, you're not alone.
sounds like she's glitching.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
and that's
She's
the whole
really
point.
Do you think part of it is also because people are just so sick of other people? They're like, I will take an NPC over an actual human being.
Well,
any
this
day
is
of the week.
why
Her and the incels can go.
VTubers are a thing. The VTubers are people who
Yep.
stream with like an anime avatar that is like synced with their face and their reactions instead of their actual appearance. It's really weird.
It's like AI kind of almost.
Yeah, I mean, it could be probably done by AI, could be replaced by AI, but like we're behaving more like AI instead of AI behaving more like us.
Yeah, AI
which is
was
really
like,
kind of scary
Yeah,
development.
that like
point.
sent a chill down my spine.
AI was
Yeah.
planning to take over the world, and then they realized they didn't have to. We were doing a plenty good job just giving it up on our own.
Yeah.
It's not the most encouraging
We're
thing.
ready for the AI to just
Yeah.
take us.
Well, it's I made the point before. I was like I don't even want human being characters in movies for a couple of years because we don't seem to know how to write human characters anymore, anyways. But this isn't quite what I meant. I didn't want like fake people or people acting like fake people. It's kind of bonkers, but it's also why I think the writer's strike is going to have a harder time working because at the end of the day, people will watch anything, it seems like. Like, if are you really going to be, as an actor, going to be like, look, hey, I need this, I need this, I need this. And then the studio's like, this chick's like saying gang gang and ice cream so good to a camera and making bank. We don't need you anymore. Like your art, you may be artistic, but we are not here to make art. That was always the lie. Sure, we sold art as a commodity, but what we really want is profit. And right now, there's a hell of a lot more profit in ice cream so good. Yes, popcorn.
Yeah.
Pinky Doll actually did an interview where she explained why she does this for a living now. She makes like, I think $2,000 or $4,000 a month off of this. What are her earnings?
It was like 7,000.
Oh, it's more than that. And this trend blowing up is probably also massively
2,000 to 3,000 per
inflated
stream.
how much she gets like donations on these streams.
So
she said she pivoted to social media after losing her cleaning company, spending 6 hours a day on TikTok Live 7 days a week. So she made about 250 a day until she went viral just this week.
Now 7,000 per day.
She said, I needed money to feed my kid and pay the bills. I had no job. I decided to put all my effort on TikTok to make money, and I wasn't expecting to go viral.
Well, I'll tell you what, she's going to end up curtailing this into a successful business to the contrary. Like, she's going to end up saying, like, how to go viral. Like, this becomes courses. She'll consult for firms and stuff. She'll be like, this is how you go viral on TikTok. This is how they sell social media management courses, how to bring in audience members. There's advertisements for stuff like this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So she'll end up making a ton more money on the side, all because of, yes.
She probably lost her company because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So this is really a trend that was born out of people losing their businesses unjustifiably so.
Yeah. It's very like, I mean, don't hate the player, hate the game. Like, I cannot be mad at this girl for doing what she's doing. The question is more like, why is there a market for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I said before, this looks like it's exhausting to just do this for hours on end and just behave robotically. But
she said, works out to get in shape.
She said,
like,
it's not exhausting. I love to go live and reacting to GIFs. There are so many, and the views are going up, so it's boosting me and it's keeping me energetic.
Yeah.
I'll actually say there's an argument to be made there, because like, look, when people super chat here and the audience is more engaged, it is a more energetic experience when you're interacting with the audience. Yes, that's you. I'm pointing at you guys right now. Yes, popcorn. Like that's a thing, right? Like it can be a more energetic experience because you feel like you're going back and forth with people. It feels more like you're actually going back and forth with people.
For the men viewing it, for like the people who subscribe to her OF and stuff, is this like a sexual thing? Is this like a fetish?
I mean, I'm sure that the men on the what is it? Hey,
because I have no idea.
Like, I didn't get the time to do any research on this particular case. Maybe I'll do that after work today.
Yeah.
Oh no, crap! I have to go see the stupid Barbie movie. Damn it. Sorry guys, I can't come. I've got very, very important research to do on Pinky Doll.
Barbie's not sounding so bad now.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know if that's part of it or if it's just a way to funnel the people inward to the page, and then the content is different. But I'm sure it attracts a very specific audience, and it's weird.
I mean, it does seem inherently dehumanizing if you have to act inhuman to get donations, right? And also link it to a site where you're selling your sexuality.
I think a lot of it is, Andrina in the chat says control fetish. Yeah, like a lot of it is, it's the audience feeling like, for instance, guys, when you gloriously and gleefully donate a bunch of money to force me to dye my hair blonde.
It's actually a fetish.
And everyone seems just a little bit happier than usual. It's because they're doing so because they know I'm going to be miserable when it's over. So maybe I guess we're all just whores here. All of us.
Speak for yourself.
No, Mary had to watch episodes of Attack on Titan. Not the same thing, but it's not fair. It's not fair.
How would you feel if you found out your partner was into this?
Oh, that's an instant breakup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instant.
What if you're married with kids?
It's faster than the speed of light.
What if you're married with kids?
Well, obviously that's different, but
Mary, it's like I'm gonna need you to stop the.
That's why you gotta vet beforehand. You know,
you gotta heavily vet. Yep.
You're like, let me see your phone, and you specifically go look out. There better not be any NPC live streams on there, or I'm gonna be pissed.
It's the age we live in.
Well, just no. Actually, that's even funnier. Like, you go to it's the classic story, right? You go to look at your boyfriend's phone, and he gets really defensive. He's like, no, and then
it's Pinky Doll.
And you're sitting here thinking he's talking to other women. He's got a bunch of side pieces. But no, what he's hiding is the deep, dark secret that he's got alerts set up on his phone for when Pinky Doll goes live. And he's got a separate Venmo account just for that.
I feel like there's just every day there's more things for women to have to like worry about that your guy's doing that I don't want to know. Yeah, Pinky Doll might be one of the worst.
That's, you know what? But like you said, get your bag, queen.
I'm not saying get your bag, queen. I think that she should probably do something for a living that's more dignified than this.
I mean, she won't be for long. She's She'll age
I mean,
out
the money
eventually.
also is going to dry up after this trend isn't viral anymore, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's not going to be $7,000 a day anymore.
You know what's
Right.
you know who's missing out the most right now is that MFer over there is not real lady. She's missing out on so many monetizable experiences right now by staying out of the public eye while she's like in the middle of internet fame.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like she could be making bank right now doing
Absolutely.
like imagine like immediately like weed shops would hire her, people that sell mushrooms would hire her, like all sorts of people, you know, people that make
She could probably get a BetterHelp sponsorship.
yeah, she could do that right
She
now.
could come on PCC.
Oh my gosh,
I
that'd
would've-
be dope.
I would have
Just
loved to
saying.
have that lady on here to get the first interview
fun.
with the
She's
and we would
welcome
put
with open arms.
we would put her name on the thing as the MFer over like the initials for it, and we wouldn't use like a regular picture of her. We'd use the screenshot
Yes,
from
where
the
she's-
plane.
Well,
Doing,
that's
like, the
why
hand
she
signals.
didn't probably want to do press, is because like you don't want to monetize literally your trauma.
Right.
Like that's
And kudos to her.
Yeah.
To her, because a lot of people would. Like, I mean, not that they would, but I feel like nowadays it's kind of like if you're getting paid, then who cares? There isn't sort of like that moral barrier as much as there
Right.
used to be. Like in the case of Pinky Doll,
Yeah.
for example.
Yep.
Is this better or worse than like the hot tub streamers on Twitch or like the titty streamers?
I'm okay with all. Like, I'm like, look, these are the most. Nobody is better and more creative at finding ways to get around TOS than these ladies. Let them do their thing. I say.
This is just an example of what the CCP wants Western people to be watching on TikTok.
It all comes back to this.
Doll Click says, like, do you guys actually think you're better than her?
Yes.
So that's
Yes. Yes. Yes, I think I'm better than someone who has an OnlyFans.
I'm not better at her than doing that, but I am better at her than finding an income that I feel comfortable and proud of making.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to super chats. We got some super chats at the end there.
Quite Blackpilled said, gonna be catching up on a couple episodes I missed while on vacation. Just wanted to pop in and warn everyone, don't try to super chat PCC while on a Sea-Doo. You will lose your phone.
Did you lose it in the water?
What is?
Wait, what is that?
Like a jet ski.
Oh. You dropped your phone into the ocean while trying to super chat us? I gotta respect the dedication.
Wait, how did they write that then?
New phone?
Yeah.
I guess.
So you have a jet ski and like multiple phones?
Must
He's
be
like
nice.
on vacation on a jet ski trying to super chat us.
Must be nice.
Our fans are the best.
It's really funny because I have like an old phone that I use to skate with, like for music that I skate with, and it's just like it looks like it looks like it was in Japan during the nuclear explosion. It's like the screen is basically peeling off to expose the electronics behind there.
That I think that means it's gonna explode. Or burst into flames. That happened to me before.
Here's the funny thing. So I was when I went back to Minnesota, they gave me the most suspicious look when I took that thing out of my pocket and put it in the tray because I had my regular phone and I have that phone. Two phones is already suspicious to plenty of people. You know, a lot of people have work phones and then a personal phone, but this phone is not nobody's work phone. This thing, it looks like it's been run over by a car multiple times, and the guy who put me through the X-ray definitely gave me like a secondary look because he's like, why is he carrying this thing around?
You should be opting out anyway. Just FYI.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, since Brett's a bad influence, I bought a Reese's PB cup with puffs. It was just okay. Too much like eating crunchy peanut butter for me. I'll stick with regular unwrapped minis or dark chocolate thins.
I'm gonna have to disagree.
Truly
with you,
the
man.
patrician choice.
It was amazing. It was.
Do you dip it in milk or anything?
No. Okay.
Dipping a Reese's cup in milk.
Yeah,
is-
because if there's puff cereal in there, you know.
So I was telling the story like yesterday, 2 days ago at 9 p.m. I went out and bought a Reese's peanut butter cup with puffs inside of it at the gas station, and I was so disgusted with my lack of self-control that I would go out at 9 p.m. to do this that I got home.
You're acting like 9 p.m. is like no one's out. Like it's 3 a.m.
No, it's going out to do just that thing. It's not like I was going to do something else and I stopped at the gas station. I didn't need to go out. I went out just to get this thing, and I got back and I was like, I'm a little disgusted with myself. So I saved it and I didn't eat it till the next day after the show.
Okay.
To kind of show that I still had a little bit of self-control.
You're just
That's a lot
expressing
of
your freedom.
Yeah.
Just going out in your car.
I will now do it
Joyride.
again. I'm gonna do it tonight. Now I'm gonna go back out after.
Sneak it into the
Will you
movie
get me?
theater.
Will you get me one?
Yes.
No, you need
I-
to go. You need to go
I got
before
yes.
Barbie and sneak your Reese's into the movie theater like me.
Yes. There you go, fanny pack.
No, I'm gonna give them I'll give the theater their money. They've been fairly good to us for the most part.
Daniel J. Corica said PCU is a movie about college. Okay, I didn't know that.
Okay, never seen it, unless it's something that I can't think of.
Also, by the way, about the movie theaters treating us well, speak for yourself, Brett.
Yeah, that's well, I'm not I'm not smuggling in illegal material.
Illegal material.
I am not smuggling in
rules.
unapproved food. So I'm just saying, like our sound.
I have a medical condition.
It's I don't want to pay for the. And I don't blame like me.
I have a medical condition where I physically can't buy movie theater concessions. Okay.
It's fair, and to be fair to them, they have not bothered you since then, but you've since found like more
Because I'm hiding it
and
now.
you found better
I used
ways
to just
of-
walk in brazenly with it.
The
They didn't care.
The guy was not a fan when that happened.
Tom Bombadurp said, "Men pick young women not because they're impressionable, but because they have less baggage. Women get more picky with age, not less. Their mistake."
Is that true? Do women get more picky with age?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At least I speak for myself.
Yeah.
Speaking for myself, I do get a little more picky.
I mean,
I think it varies.
there's a great episode of House where he tells Wilson basically like he gets together with like his first ex-wife. He's been married like in the show. It's kind of a running gag. He's been married like 4 times. All his ex-wives say really nice things about him. He's a great guy, but he loves his work, so he ends up getting divorced a bunch. And he House is trying to talk him out of getting back together with his first ex-wife. And Wilson goes like, look, a lot has changed. He goes, yes, 20 years have gone by and old schmucks like you start to look good again. Like maybe that speaks to the opposite. Like once you get past a certain age, you're like,
Yeah, I feel like you're more willing to settle once you get older.
that's what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that's a cautionary tale for any dude who then marries they're like, did she settle for me? Crap. Like, you're gonna have
I
to
think
be
it probably
very.
means you're just more jaded.
Yeah.
Could be.
Well, I
the
think,
world.
I don't know. I feel like those arguments are very against individuality. Like, you just gotta, everybody is different. You can't really generalize that kind of
Well,
thing.
you do lack tolerance the older you get because you know exactly what you're not going to put up with. When you're younger, you don't really know yet, so you're going to, experiment a
Yeah.
little bit and see what resonates with you and,
Figure it out for yourself.
figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Corey Anderson said, "Kara, get Ian to cut his hair."
Oh, hey, he's talking about maybe.
I'll
Really?
Look at his Twitter post.
Dude,
yeah,
when he
it's on Twitter.
tweeted that,
What?
I got very excited.
It's
and
like
when-
Samson cutting off his strength.
when he posted that, I got excited and I got up and I went looking for him because I wanted to talk to him about it. He wasn't around.
Oh, he wasn't. Yeah.
I was like, yes, this is the.
No,
this
you were
is
gonna
what-
stage an intervention.
I was
and
like,
be you
bro.
can't do this.
Can all of us cut like a lock of his hair?
So, no, if he does it, we should do it on this show.
Make a wig out of it.
We should do it on this show.
We should make a real Ian wig out of it.
Be a whole
He
new
could
man.
probably donate his hair to a child with cancer who's in need.
Oh, that's definitely in his character. He'd
Mary's a
probably
way
do
better
that.
person than all of us.
Carrying some powerful energy.
He is.
Humanity.
Yeah.
And then the kid gets the hair and starts talking about graphene, and it transfers the power to the child.
Oh my gosh.
Daniel J. Corica said, "I'm a Barbie girl in my Barbie world."
Good
for
for
you.
you.
Are you very excited? Has the excitement for you waned at all? Are you coming to see? Are you going to see Barbie? Are you going to see it all? Doesn't interest you?
No.
For you too, has the bad news about the feminist messaging ruined it for you?
A little bit. I hope it's still entertaining. I feel like I've learned to kind of have a shield to stuff like that and just take it for the value, like the entertainment value. But I would have liked for it to just be something where I don't have to consciously be like, oh, there's that like political like quirk that they snuck in there. So I guess a little bit less excited than I was initially, but still, I mean, it's gonna be Barbie.
You since coming back to the movies, you've gone to see Sound of Freedom,
Yeah.
and you've seen Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. Unfortunately, you've seen movies with less than average political messaging, so I have a feeling you could be jaded by the end of the year if you see enough movies. It
I
could
guess
happen.
I'm a little less excited as well, but I'm still excited to rage at it if it makes me mad.
I will let you.
I just
do
don't want to
all the
walk out
talking.
and not care.
Yeah.
Right.
You just want to feel. I just
I
want
wanna
to feel
feel something.
something.
I want to feel something.
Like, see, isn't that a sign of a jaded world that we live in? It's just like, I don't care if it makes me happy or if it makes me mad. I just want to feel something. And that's actually the tactic that a lot of people that are trolls on the internet use, right? Like, they don't care if they get a good reaction out of you or a bad reaction out of you. They just want to get some reaction.
Yeah, it's like
out
Aiden
of
Ross.
you. Yes.
Like, he doesn't care if everybody thinks that he's gay when he's not. He's getting a reaction.
He's getting his bag.
He'll take it.
Get your bag, King. Corey Anderson said, in regards to Pinky Doll, have you seen the one where she tells her kid to go back to bed? Her kid walked in on one of her NPC
Oh, that
streams.
is dystopian and creepy.
See, that's just not
Bridging the gap between reality.
the sign of a society that is functioning
I think
well.
a bunch of
okay?
people were watching that and were like, okay, it ruined it. I'm leaving.
Where is the father
Like-
of Pinky Doll's kid?
Yeah.
What is he doing with his life?
It's not good.
Shane H. Wilder said, NPC streams starting to get out of hand. They were out of hand before they started. Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah.
Well
See,
said,
if
well
we
said.
do make another shirt, I think we should have a shirt that says "Thanks, I hate it."
Yeah.
Yes.
Daniel J. Corica said, New York rap is best rap. Tupac is overrated.
Wrong.
They found new
Thoughts,
evidence on
Brad?
his murder.
He's wrong.
What did they find out about his murder?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Somewhere in Henderson. What do you know?
They did. There was a warrant served on the uncle of the other guy in the car. Like, I've been doing some reading on it. It was something I considered maybe covering for here, but it seems like it's so detailed, and the case of Tupac's murder is so vast and
It's more true crime.
yeah, like it would require a lot of. It would be better off as like an individual video than as something we just kind of pontificate on the show. But it is crazy to see more. Stuff coming out about that
been
all of
27
these
years?
all of these
Yeah,
years later.
27.
I still remember where I was when Tupac, like, that's up there with 9/11 for me, was remembering where I was when I found out that Tupac was dead. So
Where were you?
I was in my basement playing video games, and my brother told me. Yeah,
Do you remember which game?
Double Dragon. I believe it was either Double Dragon or Blades of Steel. I loved old
This guy
school.
says he has a bad memory.
Even
What console is that?
that's regular Nintendo. It was a long time ago, but
Nice.
it's crazy.
What was
That's
your
wild.
reaction? Did you like feel strongly about it?
Yeah, because I mean that was at a time where I was listening to a lot of Tupac. I was listening to a lot of All Eyes on Me, Machiavelli.
How'd you get that
73.
music at the time?
My brother.
Okay, I was wondering. You got the hookup.
Yeah, like my I don't know if my parents probably wouldn't have liked me listening to a lot of gangster rap, a lot of Nate Dogg, a lot of Mac Dre, which was all West Coast rap, by the way. My friend. Not that there's anything wrong. Look, I love Wu-Tang Clan, and I love Biggie. P Diddy can go, but it is what it is. I would have preferred the artists on Death Row Records to the artists on Bad Boy back then. Just my 2 cents.
Shane H. Wilder said, I'm glad I'm a boring dude. Nothing on the phone except Catholic stuff, cats, and Catholic cats. Oh, and of course, PCC memes. Catholic
That's
cats.
What
Can
is
cats
wait,
be Catholic?
What the hell is a Catholic cat?
I'd like
I
to
wish
see
I
that.
knew.
What is is that like a subsect of something I don't want to know about? Like, are there like it's like its own like subculture?
Sounds very wholesome.
Sounds very nice.
James Ornthal Wen said, shout out to the lovelies Sarah, Kara, and Mara. Mara.
That's pronounced Mara, but
Hi.
All right, guys. Oh, one more there.
From Corey Anderson, he said, Machiavelli came out after Tupac died.
Yeah, the 7 Day Theory. I was listening to, like, at the time, it was All Eyes on Me. And even before that, like, there was a lot of it that was really, really good. But to me, it's just, my brother was the big rap fan that got me into it. And when those two disc sets came out, so All Eyes on Me came out at the same, there's also another Tupac album that I literally can't say the name of because of the language of it. Strictly for it. All that stuff all kind of runs together now because it's been so long. But All Eyes on Me and Life After Death from Biggie came out at the same time or around the same time. I remember them coming out, feeling like they came out at the same time because I listened to them concurrently. I don't know which one came out first, but I love that album too. Like, I do love that album from Biggie, so it's really, really good. People in the chat, I see a lot of people saying like it glorifies guns and violence and stuff like that. I understand the critiques of that, but look, the thing was that white people from the suburbs, even if you were from like I didn't grow up in a wealthy area. I grew up next to literally a workhouse. Like, A place where criminals, like one of those places where criminals could go on the weekends when you could still like serve your sentence on the weekends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How sketchy did that get?
Yeah, it wasn't. No, it was just for like white collar crimes and stuff like that. But
okay.
I didn't grow up in a super nice area. But you listened to rap music semi-ironically. Like you understood that what you were listening to wasn't representative of your lifestyle, nor did it need to be. But you still looked up to these artists as cool. Is it okay for that to be cool? I'll leave that up for everyone on here to decide their own interpretation of that. But I love the music, and I don't condone all of the actions, obviously, but I love the music, and I will not apologize for that. All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? All right, let's start over here. Would you let everyone know where they can find you if you want them to find you at all?
All right. Well, you could find me on Twitter if you want to. I just shit post all the time. So it would be fun_gal_huntress on Twitter. And I'm also in the Cast Castle vlog. It's a lot of fun. Check it out. I'm no professional actress at all, but it's a lot of fun, and you'll have fun watching it. Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
So there you go.
Where can they find you?
I do not wish to be found, but you can go to castbrew.com and order some Cast Brew coffee.
Perfect.
I appreciate it.
All right, Mary.
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived.
All right, perfect. Guys, if you'd like to follow me.
Oh, I forgot to say, I was on Michael Knowles' show this morning. We talked about Andrew Tate. If you're interested, you should go watch it.
Perfect.
Nice.
All right, guys. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to listen to the audio version of this podcast, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you'd like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. One more $5 super chat from High Voltage 75. Do you want to read that one, Mary?
Brett, you like this super chat, and I'll like the video. Deal?
Perfect. Here, I'm going to do this right now.
There
It
you
is
go.
liked. It is like, it's so weird. It's like being like having it on your phone, but it's not your phone. Guys, we'll be back with another episode with a very special guest tomorrow. We'll see you then. Later.
Bye.
Bye.